Doja. Slow we come past, speeding up the heartbeat, banging in my chest. When you put it on me, you relieve my stress. You got me so high, taking deep, deep breaths. You get me so high, you get me so high. I know you ain't a drug, but you get me so high. You get me so high, you get me so high. I know you ain't a drug, but you get me so high. You get me so high, you get me so high. I know you ain't a drug, but you get me so high. You get me so high, you get me so high. You get me so high, you get me so high. You got me so turned up. You still gotta be so high. Weed always on my mind. Now he always on my mind. Doja. Know you want some of this purr. You ain't gotta say a word. Just walk that, let's get burned. Then we'll roll up 100 fucking nuts. All up in my mouth. Now I'm all up in yo. This nigga got pounds of it. All up in his truck. Now we both look Asian. He waving and I'm drunk. I got dank shit in my cup. You know what I'ma do to you? I could give reviews to you. Flow, we X, and we sipping on that juice. That's just what you choose to do. Slow we come past, speeding up the heartbeat, banging in my chest. When you put it on me, you relieve my stress. You got me so high, taking deep, deep breaths. You get me so high, you get me so high. I know you ain't a drug, but you get me so high. You get me so high, you get me so high. I know you ain't a drug, but you get me so high. You get me so high, you get me so high. I know you ain't a drug, but you get me so high. You get me so high, you get me so high. You get me so high, you get me so high.
POV.
I can't tell where your hair ends and mine begins. If I had a body tattoos, I would think that it's your skin. If I move too quick, that's you, I would think it's my affection. In this cold season, close enough. You could tell every time we touch, every time we up. Wish you could feel me, you could pull me. One bedroom, right where your heart is. Each space feels broken hearted. Cross the battlefield, way too far in. I know when they see just someone who they see us too. Ooh, I just wanna melt into you. I'm melting to you. Just wanna melt into you. Melt into you. Melt into Imagine you ready for love and taste up and down. Hoping that that secret spit it out your mouth and inhale, exhale, breathe in. With every breath I'm sinking in. No way to describe it, I'm a riot. If I wake up and I'm still not beside you, instead of beside you, just sitting surprise you. You don't even notice, don't need to remind you. Wish you could build me a cute apartment. One bedroom where your heart is. Each place feels broken hearted. Cross the bed feels way too far in. I wonder when they see just one, do they see us through? Where do you end? Where do I begin? Start over again. There are times when I look above and beyond. There are times when I feel your love around me, baby. I'll never forget my baby. When I feel that I don't belong, draw my strength from the words when you said, hey, it's about you, baby. Look deeper inside you, baby. Dream about us together again. What I want us together again, baby. I know we'll be together again. 'Cause everywhere I go, every smile I see, I know you are there, smiling back at me, dancing in moonlight. I know you are free, 'cause I can see your star shining down on me. Time goes here again, makes me wanna dance, see it loud and proud. All my love's for you, always been a true angel to me. Now above, I can wait for you to wrap your wings around me, wrap them around me. Sometimes hear whispering on my pain. No worries, will you ever see my baby? I'm so happy for my baby. Dream about us together again. What I want us together again, baby. I know we'll be together again. 'Cause everywhere I go, every smile I see, I know you are there, smiling back at me, dancing in moonlight. I know you are free, 'cause I can see your star shining down on me. I'm better. Can't even pretend like I don't want it again. On the brain all the time, thinking about the things that we did. You did something. Shit like this don't happen too often. It's the way you put it down. I don't want no one else around. Got me taking a step on the wild side, cutting all ties with them other guys. Where you look in my eyes, cover me nice and slow. You made me wanna go, call it up just to put it down on you. You made me wanna be all that I think that you let me with. You made me wanna go, call it up just to put it down on you. You made me wanna be all that I think that you let me with. Tell me what you want to do. I get by my knees so you. I'm feeling fine on it. This ain't what I really used to.
Anything happens between us, be sure you turn those down before I pull out the car. The only thing that's coming beside me at the situation is you waiting to get some more. I told you I'ma take your place. I seen it in your face, and I knew that you would say it. So how you wanna play this? Yeah, you got somebody. I've been in this predicament. Don't trip, creep the street. That's just what we dealing with.
It's at 5 in the morning. I wake up to fight for my yearnings. The fear in my mind is a warning. Pray to the one you're relying. I've been wandering all day. I tried to be fine, but I can't be. The noise in my mind wouldn't leave me. I tried to get by, but I'm burning. I'm behind, my mind it runs. All these thoughts have troubled me. Fighting to give up my pain. Fighting to be on my lane. My mind running to the other side. When it's time to leave my life, then it tries to take me out. Tell you what I need. My yeah, I really need time now. I need to free mine now. I really need mine now. I need to free my mind now. I really need time now. I need to free mine now. I really need mine now. Yeah. This is the peace that you cannot buy. Send me a love that you cannot mix. One is the joy that you cannot waste, and the other one price that you cannot fix. This is the peace that you cannot buy. Finding a way where you cannot see. Man with this system, he cannot pray. I need to find relief. But behind my mind, it runs. All these thoughts have troubled me. Fighting to give up my pain. Fighting to be on my lane. My mind running to the other side. When it's time to leave my life, then it tries to take me out. Tell you what I need. I really need my dog. I need to free my dog. I really need time now. I need to free my mind now. I really need time now. I need to free my dog. I really need time now. Just let me free, freer than the open mind, farther than the eyes can handle, freer than the ocean now. Yeah. So set me free. Now I need to find relief. Set me to the open sky. Now I need to free my mind.
Drop top Porsche, rollie on my wrist, diamonds up and down my chain. Cardi B straight stunning, can't tell me that the bossed up and not changed again. It's my big bronze boogie, got all them girls shook. My big fat ass got all them boys cooked. From dollar bills, now we popping rubber bands. Bruno sang to me while I do my money dance like, yeah. Flexing on the gram like, yeah. Hit the little John, okay. Oh yeah, we dripping and finessing game.
Ooh, don't we look good together? There's a reason why they watch all night long. Yeah, I know we'll turn heads forever. So tonight I'm gonna show you off. But when I'm walking with you, I watch the whole room change. Baby, that's what you do. No, my baby don't play. Blame it on my confidence. I'm blaming on your measurements. Shut the shit down on sight. That's right. It don't make no sense. Now slow it down for me, baby. 'Cause I love the way it feels when we grind. Yeah, our connection's so magnetic on the floor. Nothing can stop us tonight. I'm walking with you. I watch the whole world change. Baby, that's what you do. No, my baby don't play. Blame it on my confidence. I'm blaming on your measurements. Shut the shit down on sight. That's right. It don't make no sense. You know it.
Good morning. Well, damn. Good afternoon. Y'all come on in, come on in, come on in. Hello, hello. Hey, Miss B. Hey, Miss Lynn. Melissa. Who else we had in the building? If they still here. I think they see Melissa, Miss Lynn, Miss B. Yes. How y'all doing? One in the chat. One in the chat if y'all can hear me, please. So we can get started. Hey, Miss B. Thank you, Miss B. How you doing today, girl? So we're gonna get started, y'all. We're gonna get started because I want to go ahead and I want to hear what happened. Hey, Capri, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for the one. So we're gonna get started. So we are on day 2. Let me pull it up. Hold on. We are on day 2 now. Actually, day 2 happened on yesterday. I guess they did not have court today. They did say they were gonna have some Saturday courts, but they didn't have one today. Oh, your cat's gone, girl. How you feeling? I know they did say they was gonna have some Saturday courts, but I guess today wasn't one of those Saturdays. Let me make sure before I get started because I think after today we're gonna be caught up until Monday. So yeah, I don't think they had court today. Oh, so I have a brace. Oh, okay, it'll get better. It'll get better. It has to be used to being out of that cage. But I'm glad you got it off, baby. And I'm glad you didn't cut it off. Well, you didn't cut it off. You know, you did good. Okay. All right. So, yes, we are on day 2, y'all. And y'all know, for those that don't know, we are covering the Carmelo Anthony trial. Yeah, it does that. Like, it seems like it's shrunk. But, it probably look a little weird. Capri said, I'm good. How you been? I'm interested in this because some are saying Melo was under the tent, and others saying, yeah, he was under the tent. He definitely was under the tent. He definitely was under there. My thing is, I'm trying to figure out, and let me say this before I get started. Rest in peace to that young man. My prayers go up to his family, his mom, his dad, all that's involved. Even prayers up for the Carmelo Anthony family because they going through as well. Prayers up for Carmelo Anthony. You know what I'm saying? But he definitely was under the tent. But my question is, what gave Austin the right to tell him he couldn't be there? Now, I get it that it was his school's tent. But that's just it. It was the school's tent, not his personally. So, yeah. That's my whole thing. I still try to figure out what made that young man think he had the authority to even put him out from up under the tent. It behooves me that people don't understand, like, and then it's apparently clear. And don't get it twisted. Like, do I think this young man should have lost his life? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I also don't think that Carmelo Anthony intended to take his life. And this why I used to tell my children when I was raising my children that sometimes when you are in situations, you never know what might happen. You just don't. So what needs to be done is when you find yourself in a situation where things can go wrong, you need to exit stage left. Like, you need to try to avoid it. But hey, you tell teenagers stuff, you teach them, you drill it in them. But when all boils down to it, they're gonna pretty much do what they want to do. But yeah, we're gonna talk about it. So, the jury was selected, I think, between Wednesday and Thursday. We do know that people was initially saying it was an all-white jury, not necessarily all white. It's just no African Americans on the jury. There are other persuasions on the jury, just not African American, right? I don't think he should have lost his life, but Melo had every right to defend himself. I just wish they both could have walked away. It's sad. Absolutely. Absolutely, Capri. I agree. And so, yeah, jury selection took place. They have a jury. First day of testimony started on yesterday, which is what we're going to cover today. And there are no cameras allowed in the courtroom. So everything we will be reacting to or listening to is secondhand information from people that may have or may not have been in the courtroom. I try my best to select videos or clips that are very, informative, um, and can give us a clear view or whatever or what happens in the courtroom. So we're gonna get started. Like I said, this is day two's testimony. Well, this is what happened on day two, which was yesterday. We are a day behind. So once we get done today, we'll be caught up, and on Monday, I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna do it live Monday because a lot of this stuff be coming in at the end of the day, being as though they be in the courtroom most of the day. But we'll see. We'll see. But today we're gonna cover yesterday's events. Okay. I think this first clip is from Court TV. I think. Let me check. Call myself having them in order. This is from. Let me make sure I own. Hold on a minute, y'all. Let me check something right quick. Oh, I put these in manually. Maybe, yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. If they kind of backwards, that's okay. All right, so truth rest on Monday, please. You have been working hard. Oh, believe me, Miss B is catching up with me, girl. But I'm still going. I'm still going. I feel like I can't rest on Monday because after Wednesday, I'll be gone for some days. So we'll see. It all depends on what my body tells me to do. And I'll listen to it, all right? And I'll listen to you, Miss B. So make sure y'all double tap that screen. Make sure you like the live stream. Feel free to support. We have Cash App, PayPal. The link is pinned at the bottom. This channel is monetized, so you can also do super chat and super stickers. Okay, so with that being said, let's get into Court TV's live coverage of the Carmelo Anthony case on yesterday. All right. Thank y'all so much for being here. I appreciate y'all spending y'all early part of y'all Saturday afternoon with truth. All right. Hello. Let's see.
Texas. A high school track meet ended in a 17-year-old's death. And now the trial is getting national attention. People are divided, talking about race and self-defense. And today we are following day one of Carmelo Anthony's murder trial happening out there in McKinney. And
No, this can't be day one. I need day two. Here we go.
Afternoon. Yeah, day two off to a emotional start this morning. We had a first responder as the first witness on the stand, 3 witnesses so far, first responder and 2 officers. The first responder was a firefighter and paramedic that pretty much had a first responder as the first witness on the stand, 3 witnesses so far, first responder and 2 officers. The first responder was a firefighter that pretty much testified to the severity of the wounds once he arrived to Austin Metcalf's body and just talked about the intense life-saving efforts they went through trying to revive him, to which, of course, to no avail. But they talked about, attaching a machine to his chest to read a pulse, and he had no pulse. They said it was flatline. There was an acronym he used, a medical term, and the prosecutor asked for, simplicity for the lay people in the gallery. And he just said, yeah, he did not regain consciousness. But then we went on to see more from officers, and they were testifying about their response to the situation that day. One was a school resource officer. He was actually the one that made contact with Carmelo Anthony and the one who detained him. But he talked about the commotion when he ran out there to the scene, all the kids running to him saying, someone's been stabbed, and they pointed towards Carmelo's direction. And so you see on the body cam when he finally approaches Carmelo, and Carmelo seems to...
I wonder if they played the body cam. I wonder if I can find it. Thank you, Miss B. Truth don't play about your arrest, man. I won't, Miss B. Thank you, boo. Thank you for the support. I appreciate you. And don't you play about yours either. Just because you got that cast out don't mean you can get booked wild. Thank you so much, Miss B. I appreciate that. Yeah, I wonder if there's. I wonder. I'm pretty sure they showed the body cam, but I wonder if it's public. Let me check.
He was being very cooperative. He was being compliant. He didn't try to run away. But the key thing about this testimony here on the body cam, you hear Carmelo say to the officer, he put his hands on me. I told him not to. And when he says that phrase, he clearly he's crying hysterically. You can hear him sobbing in a very emotional state. But the prosecution's harping on that last half of that statement, the I told him not to part, because the prosecution says that's simply a lie. We've heard that phrasing, he told him not to put his hands on me, or put your hands on me and see what happens. That's the narrative that the prosecution's running with, and that eventually led Carmelo to stab Austin Metcalf. But there was another officer whose body cam was played during this officer's testimony where you heard the officer say, we have the alleged suspect, and then you clearly hear Carmelo say out loud, I'm not alleged, I did it. So kind of damaging to the defense's case here. But then we just heard from an officer who arrived to deny.
I don't see how that would have been damaging. Because, see, the prosecution tried to pretend like he tried to run away. I don't see how him saying, look, I did it. I asked him to not put his hands on me. I did it. And that goes against it, because I would have loved to hear that prosecution's opening statements from his mouth. Because from what we heard on yesterday, he's full of shit. By saying this young man tried to run away from what happened, and that's not true. He was trying to run away from that crowd that was up under that tent after what had went down. Because you got to remember, he didn't intend on killing the guy. He didn't even know he had unalived him, right? He didn't know that what he had done had caused the young man to be unalived. And then you got to think about it. He's under the tent. He did what he did. Then there's the brother. Then there's the other students up under there. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't know what was going to happen in the aftermath. So, no, he didn't run from what he had done. He was running to safety. He wasn't running. He was not running to try to get away. But anywho.
The officer say, we have the alleged suspect, and then you clearly hear Carmelo say out loud, I'm not alleged, I did it. So kind of damaging to the defense's case here. But then we just heard from an officer who arrived who did not partake in any life-saving efforts for Austin Metcalf's body. More of scene patrol, scene security is what he was saying, in evidence control. He was the one securing off the scene there, and he actually showed, or we saw pictures of the knife. It was a 5-inch blade. The first time the jury actually saw that knife in person, they did a demonstrative effort in front of this jury where they showed that the blade could be swung out really quick with just the stroke of a thumb. You could open it really quickly with one hand. But the impactful part of that testimony is that we saw the body cam from this officer where you actually see Austin Metcalf's pretty much lifeless body, everyone trying to give him chest compressions, but you see the body on screen, and that obviously brought out a visceral, emotional reaction from the Metcalf family. Plenty of tears and sobbing and consoling. And I looked toward Carmelo Anthony's side, and it was pretty stoic. There was a lack of emotion there, not necessarily in a negative sense, but just really take evidence here, all the facts of this case as the prosecution presents it thus far. That's the latest right now. I'll send it back to you.
Thanks to Cody Thomas for that report there in McKinney, Texas. Let's bring in our guests who are standing by to talk about this evidence, this new evidence that the jury has seen inside of that courtroom. We have with us trial attorneys Latifah Gray and Al Wunsch III. Thank you both for being here to talk about this case that has so many people talking online. They are paying attention to the details, even though we don't have cameras inside, but the details that are coming out, everyone has an opinion on them. And I'm glad I can get your legal expertise on these. Al, let me start with you. The jury seeing the knife for the first time today. How important is the weapon, the size of the weapon? Does it matter, especially when this is a knife that obviously was able to kill someone?
No. I mean, it's always a key part of any prosecution case to have the weapon. So when you have the weapon there and you can show that, and it dispels any, false rumors that it was a stake or something that was used for the sporting event that was going on. This is a knife. This is a knife that is a dangerous knife. And this is a knife that should not have been at a sporting event for a high school team. Perfect.
Let's
right
hear
there.
Gray weigh in as well about that knife. What did you think about hearing that it's a 5-inch blade, that it was folded out at the point that the officers were able to preserve it? Talk about that part of it and whether or not that makes a difference when it comes to this case being self-defense or murder.
Well, I think it does make a difference in the fact that you have a 5-inch switchblade. This is not what we would consider a utility knife, which a lot of people keep with them, that has a little blade, a bottle opener, things like that. So the big question is, what was this young man doing at this track event with this type of knife that it seems like he brought it maybe for his particular purpose? So that's a big question as to what he was doing with this type of knife.
It's so crazy to me that they keep saying that. They keep trying to put premeditation on this. When the facts are, the facts that came out when we initially started covering this, when it first happened, they say he did not know this young man. They say that even though they competed against each other, they were on rival teams, they did not know each other personally. That's what was being said. They said, now, listen, for me, honestly, in order for them to try to say it was premeditated, for me, he would have had to know this guy, had been in previous altercations with this guy. They try to make it seem like he provoked it. So that means he had to know him, had been into it with him previously, and went there intentionally to provoke him into an altercation, which to me honestly makes no sense. This is just my opinion. It makes no sense because if Carmelo knew this guy and knew his history, or knew, the consensus around the school was these two brothers were bullies. Okay, they were bullies, and it doesn't make sense for Carmelo to provoke, an altercation with him, knowing he was gonna have to deal with the brother and possibly other students at that school. Like, what they're trying to listen. I understand this is the media, and somebody told me yesterday, truth do not feed into what the media try to put out here. But I just feel like, to just put out shit that don't make sense or is lies. Because the prosecutor, he just outright lied in his opening statement. That shit is weird to me. How you can stand in court and just outright just lie. And I know the prosecutor's opening statement is not testimony, but still, to me, honestly, that's crazy. But they still trying to make it seem like Carmelo brought that knife to their track meet to harm somebody, like it was premeditated. I'm not getting that. Maybe I'll get it later. Maybe something come out to whereas, I don't know. I'm just not getting that. And they keep trying to put that on him. But anyway, let's listen.
Which is not what we usually see people, a little blade, a bottle opener, things like that. So the big question is, what was this young man doing at this track event with this type of knife that it seems like he brought it maybe for his particular purpose? So that's a big question as to what he was doing with this type of knife, which is not what we usually see people walk around with on a daily basis.
Yeah, we keep hearing that question. Why did he have the knife? Now, there was something that came out today, Al, where on cross-examination, one of the witnesses did confirm that having the knife is not a crime, but they don't mean at the school, obviously, because there is a specific rule for that school ground. When you help people understand the difference and whether or not those school regulations matter in a court of law, in a murder trial.
Well, I mean, it is something that no weapons are supposed to be brought into the schools. Schools have a zero tolerance of any type of, they have a zero tolerance for having a pretend gun. You can't even bring a water pistol in some instances if it looks like a real weapon. So that is a zero tolerance policy. Okay, having the possession of the knife is not a criminal offense in and of itself. That's correct, okay? But it's a school event. He's a student. He's there. He's got a knife. 5-inch switchblade, which, I mean, we all agree is not the type of thing you would need under any circumstances at a sporting event. And he used the knife. So, whether or not it's legal to have it, it doesn't matter. Okay, it shouldn't have been there, and it shouldn't have been used, and it shouldn't have taken the life of that, poor 17-year-old kid.
Oh, yeah. This question of whether or not you're allowed to have it and whether or not that matters in a criminal trial reminds me of a case that I was inside of the courtroom for in Florida against Curtis Reeves, who was a retired police officer at a movie theater. There were signs on the movie theater doors that said, this is a no weapon zone. He had his weapon. He fired it in self-defense. A jury did acquit him of murder and killed another man who only had popcorn in his hand. But it did come up inside of the courtroom as to whether or not he saw the signs, whether he knew he should have it, or as a retired officer, is he allowed to carry the gun all the time? Lateef, is that, in your opinion, going to be weighing on the minds of the jury about where should this knife have been? Where was it permitted to have been? Or again, does it matter at all because this knife was used in a way that killed someone?
Well, I'll say
I'm
this.
sure that's something that,
Oh, let me let Lateef weigh in, Al, and then I'll let you react to it.
I'm sure that's something that the jury will consider. But I think we all know law trumps policy. So if it's not against the law, like I said, it's something that the jury will consider. But I don't think that will carry the day for either side at the end of the day.
Al, what do you think? Law trumps policy?
Yeah, law does trump policy, except that, and let's keep this in mind. This isn't Florida. Okay, that was the most ridiculous verdict I've ever heard in my life that happened with regards to a guy who throws a couple of, assault and buttery, I called it, and he ends up losing his life in a movie theater. All right, this is Texas. I am confident that they're going to be a lot smarter jury, and they're going to be looking at it facts-wise as to what was going on, as opposed to some ridiculous verdict out of Florida.
Let's look at what the school resource officer on the stand today. This was, of course, a big moment. This is someone who would have arrived right after. And here are some of Cody Thomas's notes from inside watching that testimony. This witness, Eduardo Cortez, he was a school resource officer. He described the arrest of Carmelo Anthony. He said an adult pointed out the suspect and said, that's the guy. I called him towards me. I patted him down. I had him raise his arms and ordered him to walk with me along that fence line. He obeyed me. He didn't try to run away. I turned on my body-worn camera, had him place his hands behind his back, and had him detained. The thing that most shocked me was that a student brought a knife to a track meet, and this witness agrees that that alone was unprecedented. Then on cross-examination, this witness agrees that Carmelo Anthony was emotional, so the knife is under 5 inches, actually not prohibited. It's not illegal, not a crime. So that's what I was mentioning there of this witness speaking about it that way. But that body camera footage, Lateef, it was played inside of the courtroom today. That is always really important for jurors to see as much as they can. And here, they get to see the body
Good morning, Malika. Happy Saturday.
camera, not of days later when police catch someone, but right after it happens, this school resource officer is on the scene.
Right, and the body-worn camera presumably captures some spontaneous statements, excited utterances made by Mr. Anthony in the moment of the event while it's still on his mind and heavy on his heart. So oftentimes these body-worn cameras, which capture the aftermath of the incident, are best evidence because they capture things that are said and things that are done before anybody has time to consult with an attorney and develop a defense to what the particular charges are.
Al, what do you think about the weight of that body camera? Because I do want to add some of the notes that we're getting from the courtroom that you can hear on it, a handful of crying students. One child yells out, "That's my best friend. That's my brother," while crying and trying to come at Carmelo Anthony's our understanding of that moment. I mean, there's so much sobbing when it comes to these children and the trauma that they're going through. And you're also hearing that sobbing in the courtroom. And this is something that is very compelling evidence, I would think, for these jurors.
Absolutely. But you know what I didn't hear? They were trying to kill me. I was feared for my life. I had nothing I could do. I had to do this to be able to get out of there because they were going to take my life. They were going to kill me. They were going to beat me to a pulp. I didn't hear any of that. So the self-defense.
He did say he defended himself, though. He did say that. We're gonna talk about that. He may not have said, "I fear for my life," blase soit, but he did say, "I defended myself." He said it. That's how he felt. He felt like, and a lot of times too, I think when with these court cases, it's all about the person's state of mind. The young man said he was defending himself. That alone lets you know. And then, like I said, he didn't think what he had done was going to unalive him. It happened. But he said he was defending himself. He said it.
We're hearing that's happening in the courtroom. And this is something that is very compelling evidence, I would think, for these jurors.
Pre said, why do other races think that little brown kids are always supposed to take what other races throw at them? This is wild. This is what I'm saying, man. Like I say, Austin did not deserve to die. Carmelo did not mean to kill him. But the fact of the matter is, he was the aggressor. He confronted that young man, tried to intimidate him. He put his hands on him. He had no business doing that. He had no business doing any of it. I do agree that Knife shouldn't have been at the school. However, the kids should have been messing with him, period. Hold on. Y'all typing. Period. Anthony was only defending himself, and unfortunately, the other kid died. It's what happens. It's what you warn your kids about every day. Going to school, going to events, going anywhere. That you warn kids about these certain type situations that they can get involved in that may turn out, like this situation. Hey, Tanya, good morning, boo. You know what I'm saying? It's a parent's worst nightmare. But he should have never. If Austin truly felt like Carmelo and he wasn't being a bully or trying to, if he really felt like Carmelo shouldn't have been up under that tent, where was the authority figures? Where were the coaches? Where were the grown adults that were there at that event? Why didn't you speak with somebody who actually had authority to remove him from up under the tent? It wasn't about. It was about. I hate to say it, but it was about bucking up. Y'all know what bucking up means. Flexing your muscles, sort of say. And it turned out deadly, which is unfortunate. But it happens in people, kids get bullied in school all day, every day. And the fact of the matter is, these people are not talking about, and it was talked about when we initially started covering this when it first happened. They talked about how Austin and Hunter were known to bully people. But nobody's talking about that now. And I get it. But I remember.
Absolutely. But you know what I didn't hear? They were trying to kill me. I was feared for my life.
You know what? To be honest, when I think about that bully mentality that they had, when I think about that entitled mentality that I felt like they had, I think about the daddy and the daddy showing up to that press conference. And they got it honest. Listen, I'm not dragging or coming for the victim. God rest his soul. But I have to speak my truth. I have to speak what I feel when I do these cases. The same way that daddy felt entitled to walk up into them people's press conference, it's the same mentality that those boys had. It's the same mentality. Think about it. Think about it. He felt like he had the authority to remove that young man from up under that tent that was not his tent. Just like that daddy felt like he had the authority to walk up in them people's press conference. Entitlement. I do the fuck I want to do. No matter what the situation. They had that same mentality. I'm sorry, it is what it is.
I had nothing I could do. I had to do this to be able to get out of there because they were going to take my life. They were going to kill me. They were going to beat me to a pulp. I didn't hear any of that. So the self-defense argument starts to kind of fade a little because that's at the moment when he's confronted by this officer and has the chance to say, listen, I did this because I had to. If I didn't, I would not have been able to get out of that tent. They were trying to beat me up. They were trying to do something to me. They were trying to kill me.
You didn't say the words that you thought he should have said, sir. But the fact of the matter is that's how he felt. That's the reason why after he did what he did, he dropped the knife and he ran.
Me. You don't hear that. So I think that's going to be very important with regards to the prosecution's case. And of course, you hear those other cries going in the background. I mean, that's just an emotional aspect of it. That just shows you just how horrific this crime is.
Yeah.
It's a terrible thing. And I feel terrible for both individuals, honestly.
Liar.
I hate to say that this, Mr. Anthony has ruined his life with this ridiculousness of bringing on a knife to attract me and going into the opposite field, the opposing team's, domain And why?
We're
Why would
going to
you
talk
do
about that. We're going to talk about that, Al. We have a lot we're going to get to this hour, and that's part of it. How did tent culture impact? Who was the aggressor in this fight? We're going to be talking about that later this hour. But coming up, we're
It's
talking
not a question of who the aggressor was. Want to be Becky? There's no question who the aggressor was. He confronted him. Austin confronted Carmelo. Oh man, I forgot to send you the link, man. But let me drop it. There's no question who the aggressor was. Absolutely none. The way I look at it is either me or you, and it damn sure. Man, oh man, oh man. We teach our kids to defend themselves. I'm just sorry. Now, the knife thing, you know, and my thing is this, and I sort of kind of hate to say it out loud, because then it make it seem like I'm giving this young man a pass, which I'm not, about the knife. But let's can we keep it honest? Can we keep it real that these young kids are carrying weapons, knives, and guns these days? That's why you shouldn't fuck with people, because you don't know where their mindset is at, and you don't know what they have on them. You don't know what a person has on. That's with adults, that's with teenagers, that's with anybody. You don't know. That's why you shouldn't provoke. They say Carmelo provoked because he went up under the tent and it was raining and kids were running and trying to get shelter. I say Austin provoked. And the only thing that matters when it comes to color for me, because y'all already know, I don't do the color thing. I do not do the color thing. My nieces, I got biracial nieces and nephews. A lot of them. I don't do the color thing. But the color thing come into whereas I feel like if the roles were reversed, that all of this crap that's surrounding this case would be different. That's like that man just got away with unaliving that 14-year-old. And the facts are the facts, and it is what it is. This is Texas. We all know what the truth is.
the words of Carmelo Anthony and what they mean. There was that one coach who kept him from leaving that track meet. What did he observe?
That
the
coach
17-year-old?
did not keep him from leaving. That young man ran to that coach. I'm sick of want to be Becky. I'm sick of want to be Becky. I'm sick of her. It's the word, y'all. If they would just keep it honest, I wouldn't have it. If they would just keep it honest and stop with the wordplay. Stop it.
Do and say immediately after the stabbing. We'll have that next. Welcome. Welcome back to our TV Live. This hour we are following a trial involving teens, a track meet and tragedy. Texas versus Carmelo Anthony is unfolding now. No cameras allowed inside of that courtroom, but we can let you know that that lunch break that they were on is over. Testimony has resumed. The Frisco Police Department deputy who was on the stand, Jacob Shawls, he wrapped up his testimony saying he was aware of the school's no weapons policy and also that sometimes she, as an officer, carries a similar knife as a tool. This was during the cross-examination of that officer. So we'll keep monitoring what's happening there inside of the courtroom because our Cody Thomas is there. He's taking notes. We are monitoring those notes and we'll bring you the details as they unfold. We're also talking about this hour the actions of Carmelo Anthony that happened after the stabbing of 17-year-old.
You stuttered through the fact that this resource officer said that he carries a knife or something similar to that as a tool. So we're gonna stutter through that. We ain't gonna focus on that. Cause see, the fact of the matter is, don't none of y'all know why that. Well, maybe it'll come out. Hopefully, it will. As to why that young man felt like he felt like he needed that knife, whether it was for self-defense or for whatever it was for. Twain said, now if it wasn't a knife and was bear spray, and the little boy, what is it? Oh God, some features on YouTube might not work until you clear data other site. Hold on a minute, y'all. Let me see if this gonna knock me out. Hey man, can you hear me?
Yep. Good afternoon.
Yeah, my computer telling me to do something right quick, and I'm trying to do it. Good afternoon. You can talk to the people right quick. I'll be right back. Let me see.
Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Saturday, I think. So back to the Carmelo case here. And I'm just here to give a male's perspective. And it's not good. I mean, it's not good.
Man, it ain't never good with you, man. Ever.
It ain't. I'm looking at the situation, and it's like I said yesterday, this is sticky. If it was me and I was on the jury, I would listen to it all the way through, but I would come in thinking guilty. There was no reason for the knife to be on property, especially to use. Even though these boys step to you, I already know the coach of sports. You know what I'm saying? He know the coach of sports. This was a senior year. He knew what time it was. What were you trying to prove?
And I'm going to reiterate to you, this is coming from you who admitted that you took a gun to school.
But I didn't use it. But if I had used it in a situation, I would be just as guilty. I'm not going to exclude myself from it. I would be just as guilty, and it'll be hard trying to fight my way out of that because it shouldn't have been there.
I'm gonna let you hear that out because I agree. I agree that it shouldn't have been there. We all agree to that. But that at this point, that's a mute point because, like they said, law over policy, and he didn't break the law by having the knife, even though he broke school policy by having it at the track meet. So, to the fact that it was there shouldn't weigh too heavily on the fact of whether or not he felt like he had to use it. Hey, Queen, good to see you.
This should have just been an all-out senior brawl. This should have just been a brawl like it's always been. If there was a situation or if it had to go down, it should have just been probably a good 5-on-5 or something like that or something going on. Other than that, dude took it too far. And then what makes it so bad is like that was the first thing that
he did not want to fight and he shouldn't have had to fight.
If it wasn't premeditated, why was that the first thing that you went for in the bag?
He was defending himself. How could it?
I understand that too. I'm a man. I'm a man that used to be this age. There's no true.
Let me ask this question, man.
Masculinity has to rule on this one. No.
Let me ask the question, because here you go with this premeditated crowd. Just like I said before you came in, y'all want to say, they want to say premeditated, right? So where does the premeditation come in? Because if I can recall, when we covered this case when it first happened, it was said that Carmelo did not know Austin. They had competed against each other in school sports, but they did not personally know each other. All right. He did not know Austin, had not been in an altercation before with Austin, didn't know that Austin was going to approach him up under that tent, right? So how did he premeditate sticking that knife into Austin? So are y'all saying he just got up, put the knife in his bag that morning and intended on sticking somebody? Anybody?
You said it right there. if it wasn't going to be Austin, it was going to be somebody else. Why is that your first line of defense when you know that you know that you're out of place? He knows this himself. He's out of place.
He didn't anticipate it raining, man. Do you not know the events? They were out there. It started raining. All of the students took cover. Carmelo just happened to take cover up under that school's tent. Did he premeditate the rain too? Did he predict that it was gonna rain and he was gonna have to go up under that tent?
Truth, you good. You good. Because I mean, I would look at it as irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? Being a man. You know what I'm saying? The rain is irrelevant. He's a football player. They play football in the rain. What's called? I don't know. It's a sticky one.
And the fact, shout out to Tanya, and the fact that he told the boy, "Don't touch me. Don't put your hands on me." He said it twice, and the dude he snatched his bag. He pushed him. Man, come on, bro.
You know how many times I was told by school officials I should have just walked away. He should have walked away.
He should have, but mad. It happened. But the question now is, you can't change all that. The question now is, did he feel like he was defending himself?
No, it's the new school that's changing everything by trying to change the rules of engagement when it comes. Now, we both at our 50s. Now, we don't been through decades, and we don't see decades. Some areas might be worse than others. I think this dude was trying to be a wannabe. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. This is a wannabe who listens to a bunch of gangster rap and is trying to be hard. I mean, they were just bullies.
So the other dude, the other dude was right. He was right. The other dude was right.
No.
Provoking him, pushing him, putting his hands on him. So he was right.
Both of them are in the wrong. But one has, to me, being from that kind of culture, the two boys did what any normal team players would have did sometimes in that situation, depending on who they are. We don't know the background for it. We could say they don't have no what's called. This could have started at another sporting event. You know what I'm saying? Both of them were seniors, wasn't it? Could this been like the last day of school kind of thing? You remember those days? I'm gonna get you on the last day of school. No, it wasn't the last. It wasn't the last day, but it was more like their years of competition is coming to an end.
It was in April. School ended in May. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was not the last day. All right. Let's listen.
Testimony has resumed. The Frisco Police Department deputy who was on the stand, Jacob Shawls, he wrapped up his testimony saying he was aware of the school's no weapons policy and also that sometimes she, as an officer, carries a similar knife as a tool. This was during the cross-examination of that officer.
Stutter through it, wannabe Becky. Stutter through
it. So we'll keep monitoring what's happening there inside of the courtroom because our Cody Thomas is there. He's taking notes. We are monitoring those notes. And we'll bring you the details as they unfold. We are also talking about this hour the actions of Carmelo Anthony. Went directly to the people in charge. There was an athletic trainer, Tiffany Whitaker, who was on the stand, and she said that she instructed another coach, Vincent Hooper, not to let Carmelo leave the area. So what do these actions say about murder or self-defense? Well, let's bring back in our guests who've been talking with us all hour on this one. We have criminal defense attorneys Lateef Gray and Al Wunsch. Great to have you both on. Al, let me start with you. We talked about it a little bit before, but the words that he said afterward, if there was any remorse, and we'll get to some of the details of what that officer, or not the officer, but the coach rather, who actually put his arm around him and walked away with Carmelo Anthony. Those words are going to be important, but just first, the actions. He walked to some point, and then you have a coach that says, don't let him leave. We don't know if that means he was waiting for those coaches. The defense is characterizing it one way to the jury's determination.
Well, if it looks like he's trying to leave, I mean, obviously there is look, there was no way he was getting away at this point anyway. They had enough people that
It did not look like that boy was trying to leave.
really identify him, and it was a
the boy's actions showed that he was trying to get away from the crowd, but he was not trying to leave. They said that boy went straight to that man. Y'all gotta stop. Like, honestly, you gotta stop, you old geezer. I'm just saying.
obviously a confusing situation.
If he was trying to leave, why did he confess? Something he shouldn't have done, honestly. But if he was trying to leave, why he told the man, see, you got to make the shit make sense. If he was trying to leave and not take responsibility, he corrected the officer and said, it's not alleged that I did it. I did it. So how does that coincide with him trying to leave? Make it make sense. See, you can't dismiss, no matter how you want to try to spin this, you can't dismiss what actually happened. The truth don't change. And the truth is what it is. If he was trying to avoid responsibility and leave, as y'all say, why did he tell that officer, it's not alleged, I did it? Fuck out of here.
But, you know, his actions are always going to be looked at. And moment, anything he does is going to be magnified, you know, a dozen times for the jury to examine and for the state and for the defense to try to point with. In this type of an instance, though, there's no one, you know, he's not crying out, listen, I had no other choice. I couldn't. It's the only thing I could do. It was my life or his. You know, you don't hear any of that, which is, you know, kind of tough now that you're yelling that it's. Why wouldn't that have been brought up? That would have been the first thing I would have said.
You're a grown-ass man that done lived 100 years. Let's not talk about what you would have said, sir. Please, let's not talk about what you would have said. That boy was 16, 17 years old at the time. You can't do that. That's just asinine to even say that, what you would have said. That's crazy.
So I think that's going to be a big blow to the defense, you know, argument that this is a self-defense case. I don't think it's a self-defense case. I have never from the beginning thought it was a self-defense case. They're making a lot of ground up to try to prove that point, to show that point, and you've got all those people protesting and everything else. But, you know, the facts just don't fit.
Let's look at the words of the witness who was on the stand. So this is a prosecution witness. This is Vincent Hooper. He's a head football coach at Heritage High. So that's not a school that's associated with Carmelo Anthony or the stabbing victim, Austin Metcalf. But this is a track meet. There are lots of schools and coaches there. And he said on the stand, I put my arm around him and asked, what did you do? And then Carmelo Anthony responded, he, meaning Austin Metcalf, put his hands on me. And the witness said, you know, if he dies, you just changed the rest of your life. Carmelo's response was, he's not going to die. Then I said, but if he does. And Carmelo then starts crying like it's just now registering. On cross-examination of the same witness.
It lets you know that young man did not intend to kill that other young man. It lets you know. It lets you know. He felt like he did whatever he had to do to keep the young man off of him. But he did not intend to kill him. He didn't. He didn't even think the wound that he had caused was cause enough to kill him. But y'all say he premeditated and meant to go there to kill somebody because he had a knife. You got to make this shit make sense. You got an AB honor roll student, captain of the track team, captain of the football team, about to graduate, go to college, got this whole future ahead of him. And he up and decide one morning to put a knife in his bag and go unalive somebody for nothing. Just cause what?
You will be amazed what they do just to get a rep.
I'm not entertaining that with you. To get a rep, you yourself pointed out that school was ended. It was over. Get a rep for what? Get a rep for what when you finna leave the school?
Summertime. This your first summer, man. You about to be grown.
I'm pushing play. I'm not doing this with you that bad.
I'm just telling. I can only give you from my perspective of how I came up, and I know I've been through stuff like this. You know what I'm saying? I didn't need a rep. I already had a rep, but I wouldn't have seen myself doing nothing like this on school grounds. I would have caught that fool slipping in the neighborhood.
Understand how you couldn't have seen yourself. See, that makes you a little weird, and I'm gonna tell you why. If you couldn't see yourself doing something like that on school grounds, I don't understand why the fuck you was carrying a gun to school if you didn't intend on using it. If you weren't intending on using it, or if you had to use it, using it. I don't understand why you took the gun to school every day in the first damn place.
True. School ended at 3:05. I didn't get home most times to 1 o'clock in the morning. I was not. You know what I'm saying? That I was out. I was hanging out. I was in parts I shouldn't have been. You know what I'm saying? After school.
So basically, you saying this is what you saying. You took the gun to school not because you felt like you was gonna use it in school, but your after school activities, you need the gun. So you took the gun to school to have it when you got out of school.
Yeah, just in case. But that was me not thinking. That's an immature kid doing that. You know what I'm saying? That was a kid that was listening to hip hop, MC8, and all these other fools and shit, rat-a-tat-tat. You know what I'm saying? You know how it was back in the day. You get the y'all. You know what I'm saying? Manipulated. My mind was manipulated. You know what I'm saying?
Keep talking to the people. I'm gonna exit out for a minute, try to clear up some storage. I'll be right back. Keep talking to the people. I'll be right back. Give me about 1 minute.
I got you.
All right, thank you.
But yeah, that's all I'm saying is, you know, I think he could have found a couple of ways out. Me being of a mature mind, looking back, I think he could have walked away. Especially if you don't want no beef. Sometimes it ain't good to stay in your grounds. You can live to fight another day. Come back with your crew. You know what I'm saying? We used to come 6 cars deep. What was it, 6 deep? Goddamn. All of us packed in a goddamn Honda Excel 1992 or some shit. Got forward Aerostar. Get the sliding door and shit when you stop. But it's sad all the way around. And to me, it would have been better if they just fought it out. If you got your ass whipped, you got your ass whipped. You can't win every fucking fight. I mean, you knew you was out of place. Like if I was at a game and I know I represent one side of town, why would I go sit on the side of the other side knowing that it could be problems? Even if the situation caused me to be over there for a reason, I still would be uncomfortable and I would look for the quickest exit because right there I'm outnumbered. Was his responsibility to have me brought into? Nope, he had a choice to walk away. There's a thing of an alpha male thing. You know what I'm saying? You see that in the wild. When one side don't want that fight, they're going to usually retreat because of the bigger wolf. I don't know how he was trained. You know what I'm saying? That was stupid. I know walking away ain't human nature. I mean, I'm from an era that's way harder than this era to me. This era is just stupid, and they got a lot of fucking guns. 95 back was a totally different animal. And we fought. Yeah, you had gunplay and stuff in the neighborhoods and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But not in school or anything like this. You might have had a crew of people come in through the school and jump somebody or something like that. But you know what I'm saying? There wasn't no weapons. You getting your ass whipped. Well, maybe a knife here or there, but I don't think. I'm gonna have to look that up. Knife incidents, 1995 and back. And we was the days of protect your neck. That's a lot of that hip hop and stuff raised a lot of us and stuff. But we didn't do the stupid stuff these kids are doing. Now, out of school, yeah, that was a different story. Catch you slipping at the recreation center, goddamn, gonna whoop your ass. This guy here, this is gonna be a tough one. I just hope they don't try to fuel this, because we also got to watch out for the manipulation, this racial manipulation. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody in this generation ready for no damn civil war or what's called any kind of war. Our folks are too fucking out of shape, but they the first ones yelling racism, when most of them is the ones that ain't even gonna pull up a weapon if the shit go down that way.
Hold on, y'all.
Do not let the media trick us like how they done in the past. There's the two boys. They should have fought it out. Unfortunately, somebody had a weapon. You know what I'm saying? And truthfully, if both of them approached him, I don't think it is hard to say if the brother would have jumped in if only one of them was talking to him, because it looked like from what the brother said, he might have been standing off behind him and didn't see everything going on until he looked around and saw he was stabbed and shit. But don't go by me. I'm just following along as I go, and I'm very sharp when it's collecting details. So I might come up and I might just bring up something. You know what I'm saying?
Queen said, and the media doesn't help Rachel's pinch about having color commentators spin facts is maddening. See, I pointed out yesterday, Queen, I don't know if you was in here. Can you hear me, Mad?
Yep.
Yeah, I pointed out yesterday, Queen. I've been watching Law and not Law and Order. I want to say Law and Order, but my other station in Court TV for a long time, and I noticed how they maneuver. I noticed how they move things, and I noticed when they bring in us. Okay, I'm just say that I noticed when they bring in us, and they bring in us, that pretty much how can I say, what, you know what, I'm gonna leave that part out of it. I'm gonna let that go because I just noticed things and I point them out. Law and Crime, there you go, Tony. You know my station. I just couldn't think of it.
I see it too, but I try not to feed into it because that's what they want.
I try not to feed
the white folks are not our enemy.
What?
I mean, the white folks are not our enemy. The government is the government is our enemy.
The government is white folks. The government is white folks.
But they're not on the same level as the people living beside you or down the street. Those people who have about the same knowledge as you got. Some of them might vary because they went to high schools and stuff like that. But still, that don't put them on a pedestal of the government. The government wants a whole bunch of nonsense going on to keep everybody confused.
Let me tell you how I play fair. Because I don't say all white people are devils. I don't say all white people are bad. I say they're just like with black people. There's a group of bad ones. There's a group of good ones. We got a mayor here right now. That's the mayor of my city. I went to school with this dude. I went to school with him. I knew him. He know me. He was friends with my brother. I know him. He's the mayor, okay, and he's black, okay, but he is the mayor, and he's one of us, but he's most of one of them. He's a motherfucking pansy. He's a motherfucking a do boy. They put him in office because he's a do boy.
Yeah, you got those sellouts, but they've been all throughout our history though.
So I don't just limit it to color. I limit it. It's mindset for me. It's not just color. It's mindset. Because I don't like the color. Because we got some black folks that do you more dirty than the white folks.
Yeah.
So I don't do that. I judge people for who they are, not the color of their skin, but for who they are. It is what it is. I agree. Not all white people are our enemy, but there are some bad ones who don't care if we live or die, and there's some bad ones who ain't out of that slave mentality. That mentality that they better than us. That we should digress to them. We should kiss their boots and shit of that nature. It's yes.
I think we outnumber them right now with militants. You'd be surprised how many people hate this country and hate everything about it. You know what I'm saying?
It's more now. It's more now because the ones that thought it's more now because the ones that thought putting Trump in office was gonna benefit them and it was gonna make this world a better place, and they see that nutcase done fucked up so much. Now it's probably double. What it's probably double. Child, I ain't finna get into it, man. See, you trying to bait me, man. You trying to bait me, but I ain't gonna let you.
I don't know. I'm trying to stop having these conversations and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because I see things so different. You know what I'm saying? I just stay away from it. I got my side.
You should not stop having these conversations because you see different. A great debate ain't never been a problem. A great debate is this country is built off a great debate.
I've been debating with my people for 12 years. I'm tired.
Because see, you stopping to give it up, which means you backing down from what you believe. You should never back down from what you believe. If you should always say how you feel. Like that makes me so angry with you when you do that, because somebody don't agree with you and you feel like no matter what you say is gonna change their mind. Of course not. What you say is not gonna change somebody's mind if that's how they feel. But you stand on what you feel and let them stand on what they feel.
I can feel the way I feel and still be open to more knowledge. What I feel and what I see and what I've been going through, well, of the reason why I'm saying this is because a lot of my people don't accept new information, especially if they don't agree with the information when they first hear it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like it gets tiresome because then we see people sending other people of our color in the wrong direction with a evil and a hatred of something that they truly not understanding.
Man,
you know what I'm saying? And it just goes in a circle. You keep going in a circle.
But
the circle gets tiresome.
You say you don't mind new knowledge. I get that, but you don't buckle when it comes to what you feel, and you want other people to buckle to you. But that's not how it goes. Like if you're not gonna buckle, you're not gonna digress from how you feel. You shouldn't be upset when another person don't buckle or digress. You get what I'm saying? Like you strongly feel the way you feel, and others strongly feel the way they feel.
It has to be that way when you're trying to display what we can see as factual information that we can see, we can investigate. No, we can see it, we can investigate it, and we can determine what are we looking at, you know what I'm saying, compared to what they're saying. There's a difference. You know what I'm saying? When the information is out here, we refuse to look, and you know what I'm saying, we refuse to do a deep dive. And it's like I know everybody around me is not built that way, so that's why I was like, I'm not gonna keep going this. We can talk about that next.
Everybody around you is not gonna do that deep dive, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because this is how sometimes how I feel. You can do that deep dive, you can know the truth, you can find the truth, you can spend all your life spiraling out of control to discover the truth. But the fact of the matter is, your truth still ain't gonna change what's going on. It just is what it is. Most people feel like the deep dive ain't worth it because you do the deep dive, you put the work in, you gain the knowledge and things of that nature, but your knowledge ain't gonna change shit.
Yeah, it is not. You know what I'm saying? Because we ain't got enough. We don't have enough people to grab it and push it out. Say like our culture, if we had information that's about us and whatever, say like Juneteenth. You know what I'm saying? Some president made this a holiday and we took it and elevated it, not even knowing the full history of what that was and how it actually went down. We only going by top knowledge of what they want us to say. You know what I'm saying?
So now it has come to my realization that you have a problem with Juneteenth.
I mean, if they lied about it, yeah, I do have a problem with it, but nobody sticks around to find out what I know. You know what I'm saying?
Easter's a lie. There ain't no fucking Easter bunny. Christmas, they done made that. They done made all these holidays a month. They done made a mockery out of all these holidays, man. To be honest, I'm just saying, what the fuck is Easter bunny? Who the fuck is the Easter bunny? Most of these damn holidays is a lie.
I mean, Easter to me should be whatever rock he came from behind of and rose should be the most sacred spot on the planet at that part of the year. We never even seen this sucker. And I'm going on about 49, 50, and I still haven't seen this place yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, where did he raise from? Where is this place? You know, but
they done made Christmas about gifts and not about what it was initially supposed to be. Hell, New Year's ain't even New Year's, let people tell it. Some people say New Year's started in January, others say June. It's just a lot of fuckery for me. Like, I know stuff, I acknowledge stuff, I talk about certain things, but I just don't go crazy over it because this world is what it is. And to me, honestly, as far as change, that's neither here nor there for me. Change can come, change can occur. Think about it. Even though we may feel like we still being oppressed today, we're not as oppressed as we were years ago. So of course change can happen. But I'm just saying, like, who the fuck is gonna keep? I'm not gonna be stressing around here about all this stuff. Like, you gotta live your life at some point.
You know, it ain't about stressing, it's about passing the knowledge on. We can't get stronger by generation.
For what though, Mad? Passing the knowledge on for what? See,
for the next generation.
You that type of person that I feel like should be out there protesting, should be out there in Congress, out there in DC trying to make change. You got all this talk, but are you doing anything for change? You want the knowledge. You want people to have the knowledge, but what are you going to do with the knowledge?
I mean, that takes a different kind of courage, seeing the state of the country. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm talking, is my people going to back me or they going to diss me like I'm on, you know what I'm saying, one of these other guys? Who's the cop guy? You know what I'm saying? It do matter when you know where you came from. You know what I'm saying? But it don't matter to others. You know what I'm saying? You could just be sitting up there putting your life in danger for nothing, and still nobody ain't gonna hear you for another 30 or 40 years.
Martin Luther King could have felt the same way. He put his life in danger, but he didn't feel like it was for nothing.
It looked like he did it for nothing, boy, the way our communities are.
I don't think he did it for nothing. I don't think he did it for nothing. I don't. That's just my opinion, though. I don't think he did it for nothing. I think what he did was very, very, no, I don't think he did it for nothing, man. I mean, I get it because you feel like we still are stuck in certain, we still stuck. But the truth of the matter is, there has been change. There has been change, and
It's been a lot of change.
yeah, it's some change. It's still a lot of change that needs to be done, though. And I agree with you on that.
But we can't do that. We can't get to that level until we actually wake our armies up. Our armies are going in the wrong direction. They're shooting at each other. We have no real backing. You know what I'm saying? As far as if we wanted to make some adjustments. But I might have to take a pause because I got to take care of something real quick.
Okay. All right, man. We'll be here. All right, y'all. Let's listen.
Protesting and everything else. But, the facts just don't fit.
Let's look at the words of the witness who was on the stand. So this is a prosecution witness. This is Vincent Hooper. He's a head football coach at Heritage High. So that's not a school that's associated with Carmelo Anthony or the stabbing victim, Austin Metcalf. But this is a track meet. There are lots of schools and coaches there. And he said on the stand, I put my arm around him and asked, what did you do? And then Carmelo Anthony responded, he, meaning Austin Metcalf, put his hands on me. And the witness said, if he dies, you just changed the rest of your life. Carmelo's response was, he's not going to die. Then I said, but if he does? And Carmelo then starts crying like it's just now registering. On cross-examination of the same witness, this coach said that he doesn't think that Carmelo Anthony actually thought that Austin was going to die. He was crying. I believe his emotions were genuine. Carmelo did not try to run from me, was another point brought up on cross-examination. Lateef, what are these words telling you?
At least you got it right. See, y'all can't change the testimony. You can't change what happened. No, he's been out on bond, Miss B. You remember we did it. We covered it. They gave him $1 million bond initially. He went to court and they got lowered to $250,000. People were outraged because they felt like he shouldn't have got a bond. Well, they felt like his bond shouldn't have been reduced. When his bond was reduced, his mom and his daddy went and got him. And he's been at home on house arrest ever since. So no, he was not. He's not in custody. He has not been in custody the whole time. That's okay, Miss B. That's okay. I believe Carmelo was afraid and he reacted. Plain and simple. And the other boy put his hands on him first. He was the aggressor. And they try to make it seem like this young man got up, premeditated a whole unalive. And like, that's not true. You cannot make shit up. You have to go by the facts. You have to go by what makes sense. Oh, he predicted it was going to rain. He predicted he was going to go up under them people's tent. He predicted that Austin was going to approach him and try to put him from up under the tent. Come on. Or if you go with mass theory, he woke up putting the knife in his bag, just was gonna unalive anybody that day. He was just gonna live somebody that day because he needed street cred. Make the shit make sense, man. He ain't need no fucking street cred. He had education. He had potential. He didn't need no street cred. And he don't even come across as the type of young man that wanted it or needed it. Austin is the one that seemed like to me he wanted the street cred. He was the one approaching the young man, bullying him, trying to make him like he really can tell somebody what to do. God rest his soul. But I'm just saying, if anybody wanted street cred, it would have been Austin. Come on.
It sounds like there's remorse, but does remorse negate an intent to murder?
Well, it appears that there is remorse. It's showing me that maybe he didn't mean to kill this person, which it sounds like for all intents and purposes, he didn't mean to kill this person. But I don't know that this will save the day, given that there may be some evidence presented that he tried to flee.
If you are a lawyer, you milk dud head having ass motherfucker. If you are a lawyer, you do know that if he did not intend to kill him, that is not murder. You do know that, right? And I'm not a lawyer. So if you sitting up here saying, yeah, it seemed as though he didn't mean to kill him. So if he didn't mean to kill him, you do know that's not murder. That's a lesser charge. You do know that, right? Asinine.
If he did try to flee, the prosecutor is going to argue that shows consciousness of guilt. So
they just said he didn't try to flee, you tongue-tied bastard. They just said it. The officer just said it on the stand. He did not try to flee. But y'all want to still talk about what if. And it seems though, and it appears to be. You get some of my fucking nerves. I'm sorry, Natasha. They just get on my nerves with this shit. And then they got him, a brother, up there talking this rubberish. Whole sellout. Saying what they want you to say. And if it was your motherfucking son in that situation, put yourself in that situation. And if it was your son and a big ass white boy trying to fuck with him for no reason, and you sitting up there with that heavy ass tongue, just saying what they need you to say. Sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm not in the mood today.
These statements that he made under the stress of the event, they're important, but whether they will save the day for him is a whole nother story.
Al, what are you thinking when you're hearing these words from a witness, a coach on the stand who was right there after it all happened? He's the one who just randomly was told, catch that kid. Put your hand on him, don't let him leave. He doesn't even really know.
I hand it to the coach, he's trying to calm him down. He's trying to keep him, he's trying to keep him in the place there and everything else. And he's having a life lesson with him, which, I mean, basically you're right. This is a horrible thing. And, if this kid dies, your life has changed forever. But once again, he put his hand on me or whatever. It still doesn't mean anything, except that I will say that it makes me feel somewhat good that Carmelo is showing some remorse on this. And that,
Go to hell, bastard. Go to hell, you California raisin. Go to hell. Of course he felt remorse. He didn't mean to do it. He was defending himself. You just go to hell.
that is at least a human response with regards to same. And that may help a jury say maybe this was not, murder, it was manslaughter. So
Al, does that mean he takes the stand? A follow-up, Al, does that mean he should take the stand, or is this speaking enough for him?
No, he has to take enough. He has to take the stand. He has to take the stand. He has to be able to tell why he had that knife with him, why he went into that tent. I mean, because, the excuse that they seem to be giving that, he was just kind of going in there to...
Went into the tent, Ebenezer, because it was raining. Ebenezer. He went under the tent. Did you know the facts of the case? Or you just here to knock this young black man down? He went under the tent because it was raining. Hey, Nanya. Truth, if they only charge him with murder and no lesser charges, he should be found. Amen, Nanya. Amen. Just like they did with old Child over there. That's just like they did with Rick Child over there. The only charge was murder. And since the jury didn't think he actually committed a murder, he got off. So do the same for Carmelo. Do the motherfucking same for Carmelo. Because this is apparent that this was not murder. Could it be manslaughter? We could argue that. But he definitely did not intend to kill this young man. And these old motherfuckers know it. They know it. They know it. The fuck?
Talk to someone whose girlfriend's friend was friends with the other one. And I mean, I would have probably had a better argument if I had said he went in looking for some Grey Poupon, and therefore that's why he had the knife, because he spread mustard. Okay.
So you see what you see this asshole making a mockery of the situation. Instead of him telling the truth and saying it was raining, he went up under the tent. He also saw somebody he knew. He was talking to the person he knew. Instead of telling the truth, it would have been better for him to say, "Oh, I had the knife because I was gonna have a sandwich up under the tent, and I wanted to spread some Grey Poupon." Y'all see this bullshit? I need to calm down. I just need to calm down because these motherfuckers make me sick. They make me sick.
But to say that he went in there for any other legitimate reason other than to provoke, because that's what he did. I mean, when I played football, we had an expression. Okay, it was stay away from the bench unless you're looking for a brawl. That was what they instilled in us from day one of freshman football camp. You stay away from the bench unless you're looking for a brawl. And that was the thing that we were taught. And when you go into someone's tent, we take that very personally because that's our
He went in to provoke. This is what these motherfuckers want us to believe. That Carmelo went under that tent to provoke. He provoked Austin to fuck with him. He provoked Austin. He didn't walk up to Austin. He didn't walk up to Austin and say something to Austin. He didn't. He walked up to somebody that he knew up under the tent. He was conversating with somebody he knew up under the tent. But yet, he went up under the tent to provoke Austin, who he ain't saying a motherfucking word to. You know what, Queen? It ain't even the fact that football and track culture are not the same. It's the fact that he old as hell. When he played football, they didn't even wear pads. This old motherfucker, back when he was playing football, they didn't even wear pads. They barely had a jersey on. They had on booty shorts. Fuck him and what he talking about the culture was when he was playing football. That nigga 1,000 years old. So you can't even talk about what the culture was back then. That's the same thing I be wanting to say to man. Man, you can't say what the culture was back then versus how it is now. You can't compare the two.
What we talking about?
Don't worry about it. I said what I said.
Oh no, you don't beat me up. I wasn't listening. Oh man, that's okay. I'll be back.
All I was saying in a nutshell is that you can't compare the two cultures. Just like Ebenezer can't compare when he played football to what's happening now. You can't compare. You ain't Ebenezer, but you got some years on you. So you can't compare the football culture to what it was or the track culture to what it was when you was growing up. Can't compare the two.
No, we can't. These dudes are sensitive. The next word I'm going to use.
You can't, because see, we can all agree, man. We can all agree back in the day, we fought. We threw hands. These motherfuckers shoot nowadays. They stay.
Yeah,
they shoot.
and we didn't have teenage boys twerking on each other in the locker room like I seen on some of these videos. We didn't do none of that.
I'll put you play.
These boys are sensitive. That's why that reaction the way it was. These boys are sensitive. Man, get out there and fight.
We didn't have them twerking in the locker room.
No, boy, we would have beat you all the way out of there. Then it would have been some news.
Man, I cannot with you.
I mean, and I have to say it because I seen it come from my home school. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, ain't no way in the world we would have let that survive in the locker room. Ain't no way.
I agree, man. You right about that. Shit.
So you're an interloper in my home. You have come in unwanted, uninvited into my home. Athletes take that very seriously. He should have known that.
You know what? First of all, let me tell you something, Ebenezer. It was a tent. It was a tent, and it wasn't on their school grounds. It was at another school, a neutral school. And it was a fucking tent, and it was raining, and it's human nature for people when it start raining to go for cover. Ebenezer. The more this dude talk, the more, oh my God. Oh my God.
Okay, and he should not have been there. There was no legitimate purpose other than to incite and to get a response, and he did.
Latifah Ray, what are your thoughts on that? In terms of him taking the stand, that he has to do it, self-defense case. Of course, we just covered the case out in South Carolina. It was a self-defense case, defense of others, and Rick Chow did not take the stand and was acquitted. But what do you think about whether or not, because of how the evidence
yeah, Becky. Y'all want to be Becky, and they acquitted him talking about self-defense, and Cyrus was running the fuck away. He was running the fuck away. But Rick Chow had the money to hire high-powered attorneys, okay, in South Carolina, mind you. We ain't gonna negate the facts. Wanna be Becky. He hollered self-defense, and a motherfucker was running away. But this young man can't say self-defense and a dude up in his face. He can't holler self-defense. And Austin was in his face, putting his hands on him, snatching his bag and shit. He can't say self-defense. But Rick Chow, who shot a young man 14 years old in his back, and he was running away. Make it make sense, bitch. Now, I tried to keep it cute with you and call you wanna be Becky. Because you licking white balls to sit where you sitting, bitch. Let's be clear. But I can't do this with you people. Please don't bring up the Rick Chow case, bitch. Don't bring that up. Don't bring that shit up.
Coming out about his response, does he have to take the stand to explain other things in this case?
I think he does have to take the stand. In the Chow case, there was a witness, his son, who sort of spoke and developed the self-defense element. And this
They said Rick Chow shouldn't have took the case, which is absolutely right. Because see, Rick Chow had a history of shooting up black people. See, all the experts, including wannabe Becky, said, no, Rick Chow, he shouldn't take the stand. He should not take the stand. He shouldn't. But they saying Carmelo should. And want to know why? Because they know Rick Chow ass would have got up there and they would have brought in them other 2 or 3 cases where he shot up black people. But Carmelo should take it. Carmelo don't have that background. He don't have that record. He don't have that history. Right? Well, protect Rick Chow. Protect him. He shouldn't take the stand because they're going to bring in the fact that he stays shooting at black people. He stays shooting at black people. I am sick of you motherfuckers. I'm sick of all of you bastards. Our young black men's lives be in the hands of people like this, y'all. This is why it's so scary around this motherfucker. This is why I try to tell man we have no faith in the justice system and shit of that nature. Because we all know it ain't about justice. It's rarely about justice.
case, Mr. Anthony has to get on the stand and explain what kind of fear he was under at the time he decided to use the knife. And he has to explain and prove that he was under imminent fear of deadly bodily injury. So he does have to get on the stand to explain other things.
When you are as small as Carmelo Anthony was compared to those brothers, compared to that one brother, he absolutely felt like he could have whooped his ass. Because if not, he probably would have fought him. See, he wasn't like my son. My son was skinny. He was tall, but he was skinny. But he felt like he was a giant. He felt like he didn't give a fuck how big a motherfucker was. He showed that on the football field, on the basketball field, on the track field. He showed it in everything he did that he felt like he was the giant. All young men don't feel that way. Especially when they're smaller, much smaller than the other team players. All young men don't have that confidence of I will whoop your ass. Whether I win or not, you're not going to beat my ass without a fight. All men don't feel that way. All young men don't feel that way. Them were two big-ass football players. Even though he was a football player, he was significantly smaller.
That goes back to what I said yesterday. How well do his school likes him? Because I can't see him. You want to
listen to yesterday when I told you his school people was not around, man.
Why he put himself at a disadvantage like that? I'm asking questions.
No, I'm not entertaining them though. I'm finna pay for play because now you want to go into something that first of all we talked about yesterday, and it shouldn't even matter. It shouldn't even matter that his teammates are not around. It shouldn't even matter.
I'm a mad militant, and his war strategy sucked. I'm just saying.
In addition to why he used the knife at the time he used the knife.
We're going to keep talking about this case in real time to let our viewers know what is coming out of that.
We're gonna keep it a buck. He used the knife because he was scared as a motherfucker. He was scared that dude was gonna jump on him and whoop his motherfucking ass. That's why he used the knife. He's scared that Austin, Hunter, and probably some of them other people up under that tent was gonna whoop his ass. That's why he used the knife, sir. That's why he used the knife. Same reason why your tongue is heavy. He felt like he was finna get his ass whooped. So that's why he used the knife. The fuck?
Courtroom, there was a new witness on the stand, Stephanie Martin. This is witness number 9. They're moving through witnesses rather quickly. We have a criminalist who is with the Frisco Police Department, and she is talking about the photos of the scene, showing them the blue tarp, the stabbing victim's shoe, the defendant's backpack, a tent in the bleachers. When we come back, Al, you've been talking about this already, so we're going to dig into this topic. The tent culture. How did it impact? Who may have been the aggressor in this fight? Is it important? Was Carmelo Anthony unknowingly or not?
I'll say this once again, you bug-eyed bitch. There's no question who the aggressor was. Whoever approaches a person and did what Austin did, they are the aggressor. You could try to say Carmelo was the aggressor because he went up under the tent. That's bullshit. He did not speak a word to Austin. Austin approached him. It is what the fuck it is. It is.
I do agree with you. I do agree with you there. They are the aggressors. But I think he could have found a solution out of that.
Now, what solution? He was gonna walk away.
Go get wet. Got that going. Walk away. If Tanya just said his team was across the field, that's where he should have been at. I'm just saying. That's crazy. This is sticky. This is very sticky.
Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to.
Texas absolutely has stand your ground. I think, yeah. I think Texas does have stand your ground. Yeah.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
Mm-hmm.
The facts. The law puts the burden squarely on the prosecution.
He could have gotten out of the tent in no time. It's not like he's in a cornered in a area in an alleyway.
When someone is allegedly pushed or touched, I just want to see if the law will be applied in the same way it's been applied in other cases.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julia Janae. Thank you for being.
Cyrus Carmack didn't put his hands on Rick Chow. He didn't put his hands on Rick Chow. He didn't steal Rick Chow's water. He didn't get irate with Rick Chow. He didn't act belligerent in that store. He had a gun on him, allegedly. He didn't pull a gun on Rick Chow. He politely grabbed his book bag and he left up out of that store. And when he realized he was being chased, he ran. And Rick Chow shot him in the back. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Nobody's saying. No, I heard not one person say, since this big question, y'all, I am so upset. Since this big question is being asked about Carmelo and why was he up under the tent? See, they finna talk about the tent and why he was up under the tent. I didn't hear not one of these motherfuckers ask the question, why did you chase him? Why did Rick Chow leave the sanctity of his store where Cyrus had exited? Why did his son and him leave the sanctity of that raggedy ass gas station and chase this young man? I heard not one person ask, why did you chase him? I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it, man. Not one time.
I didn't pay attention to that case right there. Those kind of cases get repetitive. Even though these people are wrong, we still, as a people, ain't gonna stand up and do nothing to them. Zimmerman is still walking around this motherfucker.
You see how
So
you see how you dismiss that real quick, man.
I saw y'all reviewing it, but I'm saying I did not tune into that case at all. That's what I'm saying.
Why didn't you though?
I wasn't interested in that.
You weren't interested in the fact that a 14-year-old young man was shot in his back.
I mean, I don't even know what happened in the case, so why? I don't even know the details of what this case was about.
How can you be so engulfed in politics and what's happening in Washington, but you are so oblivious to a 14-year-old black young man being shot in the back running away? How could you do that?
Because I'm tired of seeing it and we're still not trying to come up with no solutions.
What
for
solutions
us. I mean, for us, period.
You tell me what the solution is. You tell me what the solution is. You tell me what the solution is.
If I knew what the solution was, I would be speaking up more about it. I can't find out a solution. We don't have no solution. We got young men dying every day.
And you just say fuck it, but you so engulfed in what's going on in Washington.
I mean, they do control most of the areas that most of the stuff is going on in. I'm not sure what this was, but as far as what I'm saying, a lot of these areas, they are controlling a lot of those areas. So yeah, I pay attention to the head of the snake. And try to give information back sometime if it works, you know.
Man, your son got to grow up in this world, man. You got to do better.
Oh, he's straight. You know what I'm saying? The best thing we could do is tell him how to move, what to do, what not to do. But still, you know what I'm saying? He had more guidance than I got. You know what I'm saying? So
listen, so if one day, let me ask you this. So if one day, okay, Tanya, okay, boo, be safe. I'm not Tanya, Miss B. Okay, Miss B. Oh, she already out and about. Be safe, Miss B. So if you sit your son one day, if you sit your son down one day, and you play the events of what happened with the Cyrus, not with the Cyrus. I'm sorry, Cyrus is on my brain. If you sit your son down one day, and you explain to him the events of what happened with Carmelo Anthony, and you show him what happened, what would and you ask your son, or you tell your son, if you in this type of situation right here, what would you tell your son to do?
do his best to walk away. But if you can't walk away, no one would have hit a motherfucker. I mean, the best thing to do is teach them how to de-escalate. Some people you can't de-escalate, so you're going to have to turn up. You know what I'm saying? But in this situation here, he should have walked away. If it was my son in this situation, me and him, I'll probably be cussing him out right now because you should have walked away.
So even though Austin pushed him, snatched his bag, pushed him, put his hands on him, I agree he should have walked away. I do agree he should have walked away. But being as though he didn't, and he felt like he did what he needed to do to defend himself, that you know, that
it's too many. It was too many. It's too many coaches, too many teachers. It was too many out there. You should have just walked away. So if he come up behind you, then it would look like more like self-defense. You know what I'm saying? Because now everybody can notice the situation, and they might see him coming up behind him as you trying to walk away. But he stood his ground. there's a way you got to play it to manipulate the minds too. You know what I mean? If I act like I'm walking away and he come up behind me, I got a right to steal his ass. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what we usually teach our sons, Miss Tanya. We teach our sons about the police and being pulled over by the police. We even try to teach our children what to do in situations like this. But the truth of the matter is they are young people, and no matter how we teach them, no matter how much we teach them, in the moment you can never say what might happen. And I used to warn my kids, especially my son, and it saddens me because the situation that my son was in when his life was taken, he was doing what I taught him to do. He was doing what me and my ex-husband taught him to do. Be there for the people you love, be there for the people that need you. He was a kind person. And being kind, being what we taught him to be cost him his life. It cost him his life. So what in the fuck are we supposed to do as parents? What are we supposed to do?
I mean, it's hard to plan for the unexpected, even though you try.
Yeah.
I don't think our sons are too far from each other. Your son would have been 30 this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine will be 27 this year.
He would have been 30 next month.
And luckily, he got through his school career, his life, or whatever, with not one single issue, president role and everything. I think I did enough fighting for him. Yeah.
My son didn't live his life. My son's life was just starting. My son's life was just beginning.
No, it was somebody's school life as far as dealing with situations is like this.
Oh yeah. He got through school pretty good. He never was in a fight. He never was in a situation such as this. He was all sports all the time. He was popular, man. He was popular. He was talented. He was outgoing. He had a lot of friends. He didn't have people that had issues with him. You know what I'm saying? Like in school, like none of that. He was. I wish I could. Sometimes I wish I could share with y'all, his real life and things of that nature, but I just can't. Cause not because of y'all, but But yeah, he did get through school with none of this. None of this happened to him in school. None of it. Nothing like what Carmelo went through. He wasn't bullied. All teams, all sports, he was that guy.
And this ain't one of those. This is more of a what we call uppity area, ain't it?
Oh yeah. See, my son went to school with his peers, and when I say peers, and I learned that peers, I've been misconceiving what that means. He went to school with us. My brothers, on the other hand, my two brothers, not my twin brother, but my younger brother and my sister's twin, they went to school. They went to white schools. They went to private schools. They went to prep schools. So they went to schools with, but they too were football stars, basketball stars, track stars. They didn't have issues. The white boys in their schools looked up to them. They thought they were the shit. You get what I'm saying? They didn't encounter being bullied by white kids. The white kids were scared of them. My brothers both were well over 6 feet tall. All of my brothers were. So they didn't.
I think I just had bad luck.
Even though they went to school with the whites, they still didn't have that issue that Carmelo had. They didn't have that issue.
Shoot, I dated a girl across town. I was a wrestler, and her ex-boyfriend was a wrestler. It's just so happened he was in my same weight class. That's how wars start. You know what I'm saying? Things was built different. And the thing about it, on all 3 occasions that I met this dude, he beat me all 3 times. It wasn't an easy win. This dude was just way more cockier than I was. I don't know what he was eating and lifting, but he was definitely eating and lifting more than me.
He was eating a little bit more cornbread than you, man. He was eating a little bit
Man, I mean, man, and I'm 16, 17 years old at that time, like throwing up 385 on a bench, and this dude was almost manhandling me. It made me feel small for the first time.
Well, I'm just saying, you should have ate more cornbread, man. You should have ate more cornbread.
Man, I should have found a different girlfriend. That shit wasn't right. Why you date this big ass dude, man? That dude was huge too.
Oh, wow.
And he was across town. So that's how things happened. But still, when I went to the events, we looked at each other funny and stuff like that. But he had his boys looking at me funny, but still nothing happened. It could have happened if I said something. You just got to know your place.
Yeah.
This dude is in a sticky situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he should have found a new girlfriend. See, I feel like this: if you got to fight over a person or not for you, like if you feel like you got to fight and you got to, go through all this bullshit when it comes to being with somebody, I don't think it's worth it, to be honest.
It wasn't a fight. It was a legal match. It just so happened he was in my weight class. It took it out on me that I was with him. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, I'm just saying. Yeah. All right, y'all. I'm pushing play.
With us this hour, we are following a trial that involves teens, a track meet, and tragedy. And in that case, there's a big question about where it all happened. I do want to let you know what is happening inside of that courtroom. There are no cameras allowed, but here at Court TV, we are sharing the details as they unfold via our Cody Thomas, who is sitting inside of that courtroom. And what we understand from the notes is that a criminalist has been on the stand. They're talking and have been showing this jury about the crime scene photos that were taken. They even found the belongings of Carmelo Anthony. They're looking at his clothing, his backpack, and his belongings. And it looked like the hoodie that it seems like he was wearing had a small blood stain on it. We heard from the school resource officer that he noticed blood on the middle finger of the defendant or the suspect at the time. This criminalist also said that the backpack was open and the front part was closed when this witness was asked about how the backpack was collected. On cross-examination, the defense asked questions about whether or not there were other things inside of that backpack, like an Elmo screen, snacks, charger, cable, and homework. So that cross-examination is going on right now. We will keep you informed on what happens there. We're monitoring it, and Cody Thomas will be joining us live with reports there on the ground when he's able to come out of court. While we're continuing to talk about this case, though, we are dissecting, was Carmelo Anthony the initial aggressor because of where he sat? He was sitting under a rival school's tent. It's a topic being heavily discussed inside of this murder trial by those witnesses, and while the jurors ultimately have to determine whether the fatal stabbing of Austin Metcalf was justified or unjustified, these happenings before and after the killing by both teens are important. So before we talk about tent culture, here's what happened according to witnesses yesterday. The details are that Austin Metcalf and his friends arrived first. About 2 minutes later is when Carmelo Anthony entered the tent. Now, prosecutors say that Austin Metcalf pushed Carmelo Anthony, and that push can be seen on the surveillance video that jurors saw. It's estimated that Anthony and Metcalf were under the tent for about 4.5 minutes at the same time. So next, here's, according to witnesses, what may have prompted this verbal and physical confrontation, and it has a lot to do with tent culture. This is Robert Starr. He's the head track coach at Memorial High School, and he testified, just talking generally about track meets, that the tent marks your spot. What the tent represents is kind of like the benches in football, your bench and the opponent's bench. Your bench is your safe space, and it's a big deal to keep people out from under your tent.
The fact of the matter is the bench did not belong to them. The bench did not belong to Austin. The tent did not belong. Just because you, listen, I get tent culture. I get it. But see, I don't resonate with another school's student not being able to get up under the bench because that's not how we roll here. But I respect that's what that's supposed to be. But because of tent culture, man, I'm not entertaining that, man. I'm just not. It still screams to me entitlement. It's still, I'm not doing it. I don't care. That tent was outside. It was on them benches. They didn't own them benches. And it's not like the young man went up under there for no reason at all. I'm not doing it. And just because he was up under that tent, that means he was supposed to be approached and bullied. Okay, great.
I mean, no.
And hormones, you want to keep.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's what it's like. You know what I'm saying? The 10 is like the team's locker room.
And then too, from my perspective, even if that's the case, we got this whole tent culture. He shouldn't have been there. It was disrespect. He shouldn't have been there. So that means that Austin should have contacted or told an authority figure. He was not the authority figure. If he felt like Carmelo should not have been up under the tent, he goes to an adult. He goes to an adult. Now, if one of us, meaning one of our black or brown kids, was to walk up and tell a little white boy to get from up under the tent, they bullying them.
Man, that white boy gonna haul ass. You know he gonna run you.
I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't know if he was the only one from up under the school. I do know the majority of the young people that was up under that tent was from Austin School. They had a resource officer. Carmelo ran to the resource. They had a resource officer. If Austin felt like Carmelo shouldn't have been up under that tent, why not go to the resource officer?
I agree with that too.
I'm just saying, if you felt like you was right by putting a young man from up under there, why not go to an authority figure? Why not go to an adult? It was not your place.
I've been trying to get this damn clown off the bench. Where is he at? I've been trying to get the clown off the bench for the last 2-3 weeks here. Where he at?
Oh, I don't know. Call him, child. Contact him. He thought he was the big dude that was going to make him leave. Yeah, he bullied him. They were bullying him like they had been doing. They were known as bullies. I'm sorry, it's the facts.
Keep kids as distanced as you can. Let's bring back in our guests who are standing by because we're asking the question, was Carmelo Anthony's presence underneath that tent an aggressive initial act? We have Lateef Gray and Al Wunsch III with us. Al, you've been talking so much about the tent and tent culture, and I think it is important for those who it's just
Well, look, I mean, the tent is home. I've said this before. I said it just recently. It's your home. It's where your team is going to be, and it's your territory. Okay. You know, Texas is a lot like New Jersey. There are no participation trophies, okay, in Texas, and there's no participation trophies in New Jersey. You're there to win a game. You're there to play with your team. You've got your fellow athletes with you. When somebody decides to disrespect you by walking into your tent, knowing that is a disrespectful move on their part, knowing that he's only there to rattle, to antagonize, and to instigate. He wasn't there for a legitimate purpose. If he was there to
I'm telling you, I'm willing to bet money that I don't have that if the roles were reversed and Carmelo was white and Austin was black, the emphasis on him not having the right to be up under that tent would not be a big deal. It would be he was an innocent kid that went up under a tent and he should not have been bullied. I'm telling you what I feel. I'm telling you what I think I know because I've seen it before. I've seen how the color of your skin dictate how the narrative is ran. If Austin was black and Carmelo was white, and that white kid had to stab that black kid, it would have been he feared for his life. He was scared. He was a big dude. He had every right to be up under that tent because it didn't belong. So I'm telling you what I know.
I got an irrelevant question real quick.
What's that?
Do we think that it would be different if it was female athletes that got into the same situation?
I'm not sure about that. I can't even speak on that. I'm not sure. I'm just seeing like that alpha struggle thing. These are teenage boys. Yeah, I'm gonna keep saying this is sticky. Carmelo in trouble. Okay, man, we get it. We know him. We know
I'm not trying to be funny. You know what I'm saying? It's like the more I think about it, it's like,
we're being funny, and we know he's in trouble because he's in court fighting for his life. We know he's in trouble. And you think it's funny. It's not funny, man. It is not funny.
It ain't funny. It ain't funny, but you also got to look at him. He put himself into this situation. We can't allow these kids not to be held accountable for their actions. You know what I'm saying? That's why so much of this stuff is continually going on. They lack of accountability. I don't agree with the death penalty, but he should at least do at least 15, 20. This was a stupid act.
I can't believe you. I really can't believe you. I can't. You have nothing to say about the child case. You have nothing to say about Cyrus being shot down. You didn't even pay attention to that case. That case means nothing. But you saying this young kid he getting what he deserved. Like, I cannot believe you.
I'm not saying he's not getting what he deserved, but you got to be held for the accountability for your actions. You can't just go around stabbing somebody just because they put their hands on you, but still you're in a place of some sort of sanctuary as far as you have officials, teachers, and all these other things around you.
I can say the same thing for Austin. There were teachers, officials, there were resource officers, there were coaches that he could have went to and said, "Look, this dude is up under our tent. Can you make him leave?"
I mean, I'm expecting to trigger you, Nunya, and everybody else in the chat. This is a male's perspective. I'm sitting here in a conversation with nothing but females who have emotional tendencies. I expect this. That's why I'm trying to get a male's perspective. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think every male has your perspective. I don't think
both sides are wrong. Did this guy cause his own death by pushing him?
What do you think?
I mean, yeah, it looks like what he did, but this one here was gonna be a wild one.
Okay.
Say, listen, I'm coming in to tell you that the meet's going to be canceled. They asked me to come over. That's a legitimate purpose for him to go in there, and then he leaves. He did not do that. He came in to provoke a response. He wanted to show that he could disrespect them. And you know what? That's a psych move. That's a move that you.
How did he know that was that young boy's mentality? Because somebody tell me, how does Ebenezer know that the intent of Carmelo was to cite them people, or to how does he know that? Somebody explain that one to me. How does he know that?
Nobody should know that except for Carmelo.
Exactly.
He did not do that. He came in to provoke a response. He wanted to show that he could disrespect them. And you know what? That's a psych move. That's a move that you do to try to psych out your opponents, to show them, I have no fear of you. Okay, I have no respect of you. I don't care about you. And I'm going to show you exactly that by coming into your house and sitting down. Get me out.
Lateef Gray, let me know your thoughts on this. Al is adding a lot of context here. We don't know for sure until we hear him on the stand what was in the mind of this defendant. His defense attorney says that he was there to talk to friends, and he was chatting, he was sitting, and then he was approached for sitting there. It's hard to know until we start hearing from the witnesses who were actually there in those bleachers. But what do you think about the fact that he was underneath this tent that belonged to a different team, and there was a light drizzle outside? I don't know how much the rain impacts things or whether.
Wait a minute. You don't know how much the rain impact things, but it's all about a tent. Girl, shut the fuck up. Natasha, you said, truth, I don't know if my internet will cooperate, but I have not been up in a long time. Yeah, you can come up, girl. Absolutely. All right, let me do that. Thank you, Meryl. Oh, hold on. You said right, truth. I don't like this man for it. Girl, Ebenezer gets on my nerves. Ebenezer full of shit. Yeah. Thank you, Merle. Thank you for the support. Hit the link, Natasha. You can come up, boo.
that negates the policy or the unwritten rule there.
Well, the fact that he was in this tent is problematic given this tent culture, this bench culture in Texas. So it's going to be important that he get on the stand and explain why he was in that tent and give a viable explanation for why he was in that tent. And if he can't give a viable explanation for why he was in that tent, that inures to the detriment of his self-defense argument. So he's going to have to get up there and explain a lot of things that happened that day, and he's going to have to explain a lot of his actions, both preceding and after the stabbing.
Let's also look at more that we heard from that witness who was on the stand, who was talking about tent culture, and specifically in track culture, that you just understand that you don't go to another team's tent, especially uninvited. And then on cross, they did say that there were rules that are preventing kids from roaming freely during that downtime. This was a downtime. The track meet had not started yet. This coach reiterates, though, that track athletes have an unspoken rule not to go under the other person's tent. Al, I'm really trying to dig into here, though, if that move of going under a tent, you talked about a bench and it being similar, if going there is the initial aggressive act that then in turn being grabbed or being pushed means that's okay, or does it not matter? Because even if this is a push that is inappropriate, it's still responding to that push with fatal force.
Well,
These motherfuckers trying to make it seem like it's okay that he put his hands on that young man, and it's not. It's not okay. It's not okay that he put his hands on Carmelo. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. It's not okay. It's not okay to put your hands. And we teach our kids this. So why are these people as old as motherfucking adults with their old decrepit asses sitting up here trying to make it seem like it's okay that Austin put his hands on Carmelo because he was up under a tent? Like, you got to make this shit make sense.
I mean, but, the analogy to a football bench, as and I gave you the quote that we learned very early on. You stay away from the bench unless you're looking for a brawl, and that's what is the mentality that we're basically living with in that culture. When the game is on and when you're getting ready, and the pregame is almost as important as the game, because that's when you're getting yourself into a mental position that you're going to be able to perform to the best of your ability, that you're going to be able to go out there and you're going to make your teammates proud, and you're going to make yourself proud and know what you're doing. And you're trying to keep that concentration. When somebody comes in that's not supposed to be there, okay, that is a disrespectful act. And that act in and of itself demonstrates that he's trying to get at you. He's trying to psych you out. He's trying to show you that he's not afraid.
I just want y'all to realize and recognize how this man is trying to make excuses for Austin putting his hands on this young man. Y'all talking about disrespect. Y'all talking about the tent culture. Y'all talking about game time and mentality and all that. But I guarantee you, if Austin was black and he was stabbed by a white boy, it wouldn't be all this. It would be he had no business putting his hands on him. He had no business trying to put him out the tent. It wasn't his job. It wasn't his duty. He did not have authority to try to put that man from up on the tent. I know how the narrative will be going, and it's sick and it's sad. And you bastards need to go to hell.
Okay, and that has a very, can be very, very dilatory with regards to a situation where you're trying to get ready to do the.
Hey, L Boogie girl, how you doing?
Best you can on the field. And you know what, Carmelo, I'm sure knows that. And like, about taking a stand, I hope he takes the stand because, I want them to see that this is a kid and that, this is a young man who made a very big mistake and took the life of somebody. But I'm hoping it's not going to be looked at as murder, as maybe a manslaughter situation. But I think that they need to see that this is a boy. I mean, he's a kid. And I mean, my heart is out for his family and for him. I just can't stand that somebody would have brought a knife to a game like that. It just blows my mind.
It's the
Never
reason
seen that
we
happen.
have these policies, the exact reason, because kids can be emotional and don't know how to handle weapons in a situation like that. But in this case, we have the loss of life of a 17-year-old, and all of that is going to be in the hands of the jury in the coming weeks. We're going to step aside really quickly. When we come back, there was quite an emotional moment inside of the courtroom yesterday, one that prompted jurors, including male jurors, to tear up, to be crying. We're going to talk about the exact moment that happened. Our Cody Thomas was there inside of the courtroom, and we'll be.
And those jurors should have been removed, but that's neither here nor there. I'm gonna keep that to myself. When you break down and cry as a juror, you're supposed to be removed. They remove it for less than that. I'm just saying. But of course, this is a special case, and we all know what's going on.
Be able to read you those notes from inside of that Collin County, Texas courthouse where testimony is going on right now. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, those jurors need to be removed if they sitting there crying already. Because then it's starting to make me think if you got grown men crying, and if you not, and I'm not saying this because I'm speaking up for the boy or nothing like that, but how hard was this push for this incident to end the way that it was? Because I'm looking at the push as far as like, you know how you see on movies. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You get the bullet pump coming up and you just might push his two shoulders back. Like, come on, get out of here.
It don't matter.
You know,
he violated by putting his hands on him.
I know. I understand this. But what they're trying to break down is after the push, it wasn't met back with equal force. A knife is not equal force. It's self-defense. But it's not equal force to what they was doing as far as a push.
You can't tell somebody how to fight back. You can't tell somebody how to fight back.
I know the rules now. I know the street rules now. But I think I probably would. I don't know what I would have done. I probably would have fought him, but because I knew it was backup coming. But I don't know.
Learned that a high school and in the murder trial of Carmelo Anthony. Thank you for being with us here at Court TV. I'm Julia Janae. We are following that trial out in McKinney, Texas, and we've just learned that a high school student is the next witness number 10 for the prosecution. This is the first high schooler, someone who would have been at that track meet, who has testified in this trial so far. We are getting those notes in. This case does not have cameras inside of the courtroom, but we do have our Cody Thomas, who is there monitoring everything for us. And what we're learning so far from those notes is that this is a school track and field athlete, a football player who was heading into his senior year, was at that track meet preparing to run the 800 meter that day that this happened, this tragedy that unfolded there. They went to see their middle school coaches as well before the track meet for about an hour. They were reminiscing about good times. The Metcalf brothers, the twins, they were there, and there were other people. And now this witness is describing the event. And I'm just going to read what these notes are saying as they are coming in. This is live inside of that courthouse. Carmelo came under our tent wearing Centennial gear. He was there hanging with Eddie, dapped up. They talked. I remember people confronting Carmelo saying, quote, "You probably shouldn't be here. You should maybe leave our tent." Austin, Tion, and I told him he should leave. We didn't stand up and gang up on him. I said, "Hey, you're in our tent. You don't need to be here." Numerous members of the team. Carmelo refusing to leave. Austin asked him to leave, and Carmelo said, "Touch me and find out." So we will continue to monitor what's happening there. Clearly, that high school student is beginning to talk about the most important part of this case. How did this happen? What led up to it? Let's bring back in our guest to react to what we're hearing inside of this courtroom. We have Al Wunsch III with us, Lateef Gray as well, both trial attorneys taking this in, not only on the emotional level, but also the legal aspect of how important this high school student is. Lateef Gray, there are no cameras in this courtroom, and I think part of that, tell me what you think, is because we have so many minors involved in this case, including a witness like this one on the stand.
I think that's a huge part of it. These minors, you don't want to necessarily show them on camera, and a lot of times you can't even use their full names. You have to use initials. So I think that's a huge part of it. And I think this witness's testimony is important for the prosecution because it goes to directly refute Mr. Anthony's claims that he was being ganged up on and was surrounded by people. So this testimony is very, very important for the prosecution.
Al Lynch, I'm going to read a little bit more as it's coming in. Again, I was saying multiple people were telling Carmelo to leave. He said, touch me and find out. He was getting angry. Both of them were getting angry. Carmelo was asked more than 10 times to leave the tent. It wasn't just Austin. People, including myself, were saying for him to leave. I thought it would get to minor pushing at most. I wasn't worried about it. This goes on for 2 minutes. Ostello and Carmelo, they are both getting more aggressive and angry. Your reaction to that, Al?
Well, it demonstrates to me that was the reason why he was there.
How can you say multiple people was telling this young man to leave, but he wasn't ganged up on? How can you say that in the same sentence? I don't give a fuck who stood up, who whatever. How can you say that multiple people was telling Carmelo to leave from up under the tent, but he wasn't ganged up on? How does that make sense? How does that make sense? Okay, I'm slow, so it wasn't easy to join the line. So let me just say, I feel like Carmelo should not have taken it this far, but I don't know what has happened before this encounter, to be honest. Okay.
I mean, I can drop the link on my wall if you're trying to come up.
If I felt like I was in danger, I would do whatever I needed to do to make sure I'm good. Okay. Oh yeah, because it's not gonna come in. You know what? Drop it on your wall for me, man.
Yeah, I had to send myself the email of it.
I forgot that we on the vertical app. You know I be forgetting. I forgot.
Yeah, it's on my wall right now if you want to come up.
All right.
He wanted to provoke a response, and he got it. When the first person said, you know what, maybe not a good idea that you're here, leave the tent. He didn't. 10 people have to tell him he still doesn't want to go. Okay, why was he there? He was there to try to prove a point. He's trying to prove a point that he could disrespect this team and that he doesn't care about this team and that this team means nothing to him. So he came in to instigate, he came in to antagonize, and he came in to try to psych out the opposition. And that's what happened. And this young man did a foolish thing.
Lateef, I'm seeing in these notes that there are multiple people, including this witness, who asked him to leave, as Al just said. Does that help or hurt the defense? That there were multiple people saying you need to leave, and he's refusing before things seem to escalate into something that's more aggressive and angry.
I think it hurts the defense. And Mr. Anthony's going to have to get up there on the stand and explain why he simply didn't leave when he was asked multiple times to leave. Now, he may very well have a valid explanation for why he didn't leave, but at this point, I haven't seen any evidence of it. No witnesses testified to it, so it's going to be incumbent on him to testify as to why he didn't leave, and he better have a valid explanation for why he didn't leave.
I'm going to read a little bit more so our viewers can hear what's going on inside of that courtroom, because this, I think, is critical evidence for this jury. This is an eyewitness. This isn't a coach that came up later. This isn't an officer that was on the scene after it was reported. These are the people who were under the tent at the time. So this witness says that Austin was taking the lead on wanting Carmelo out, and that, quote, touch me and find out statement felt like he was trying to escalate, meaning Carmelo. Austin didn't seem like he wanted to fight, but Carmelo wasn't leaving. Both of them exponentially getting more aggressive. Carmelo was provoking. Austin leaned in to push him, and then Carmelo stabbed him. I mean, Al, you can almost feel it in the way that this witness is describing it, the tension that was rising more and more as this went on. This was about 2 minutes that this was going on.
But let's be realistic here. Of course, Austin did not want to get into a fight, because if he got into a fight, he wouldn't have been able to participate in the event. They would have immediately required him to be disqualified.
If Austin didn't want to get into a fight, he wouldn't have put his hands on Carmelo, period. Stop it. Stop it. You don't put your hands on somebody you don't want to get in a fight with. Because just like man said, had you put your hands on him, he would have punched the shit out you. So you want to get in the fight. When you decide to put your hand on somebody, you want to get in the fight.
Qualified, and they would have removed him from the field. So, that's the other thing that we have to be thinking here. There was no reason for Austin to want to get into a fight under these circumstances. He doesn't want the kid in there. And I'll tell you this too. When you're in a locker room or you're in a tent or something along those lines, we don't allow our friends to be in those tents with us. It's only the athletes. It's only the coaches and the athletes. We don't let our parents be in those tents or be in the locker room with us. It's only the athletes and the coaches. So when somebody comes in who's not supposed to be there, is told to leave and purposely stays, okay, that's not self-defense. And like I said before, who in their right mind wants to get thrown out of the match before it starts? And if this kid, Austin, is looking to go to college and play and get a scholarship and things like that, he needs to run. He needs to be able to participate. He gets into a fight, he's thrown out immediately.
Well, I think both are students who are apparently headed to college, have college aspirations. I got to get your take on this that's coming out. Lateef, this is about the knife and what happened to the knife when they saw the knife. So it said again that Austin didn't seem like he wanted to fight, but Carmelo wasn't leaving. Austin leaned in to push him and Carmelo stabbed him. The knife came from inside of Carmelo's backpack. I initially didn't see the knife. Carmelo had his hands inside of his backpack. We thought it was a bluff because we'd never experienced a danger like that. And then after, he throws the knife up the bleachers and ran away. That knife, Lateef, the fact that he pulled it out and immediately stabbed, the kind of a waving of the knife, a threatening with the knife, a back up being said when he has the knife, how does that play into a self-defense versus murder case?
Well, the fact that he didn't wave the knife, didn't brandish the knife, it inures to a self-defense claim. But the fact that he had this knife is still very problematic because essentially he brought a knife to a fist fight, which is hard to argue self-defense when you stab somebody who's unarmed or you use a weapon against somebody who's unarmed. So we all know self-defense has to be a reasonable response. And in most cases, using a weapon against someone who's unarmed is usually not deemed to be a reasonable response.
How about if you shoot somebody that's running away from you? How about if you shoot somebody that's running away from you? Does that cause for self-defense?
So the fact that he dumped the weapon also is bad for him because he's claiming self-defense. If you're claiming self-defense, you usually don't dump the weapon. You keep the weapon so the police can recover it and you can... Unfortunately.
These are the details that matter. This is a prosecution witness. This is a friend of the victim, a very important person on the stand. Al Wunsch III and Lateef Gray, thank you so much for weighing in and helping us break down everything in this case. We're going to continue to follow it. We're going to follow those live notes happening inside of the courtroom, and then we'll have Cody Thomas outside of the courtroom very shortly. Coming up on the other side of this break, former Sheriff Mickey Stein is back in a Kentucky courtroom today. We're going to take you there next.
Shocking and emotional testimony.
Okay, that was it for Court TV. We are now over here at Law and Order. Not Law and Order, damn. Law and Crime. Let's listen to how they put it.
Media outlets in the courtroom for one of the biggest trials of the year. A teen track star, Carmelo Anthony, is charged with first-degree murder. He is accused of stabbing and killing fellow track athlete Austin Metcalf at a track meet. A haunting body cam video captured the chaotic aftermath of Austin Metcalf's final moments, but it was one statement Carmelo Anthony allegedly made to police after the stabbing that could become the most powerful and potentially devastating evidence in this case. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. Hey guys, real quick before we get into what happened in court today, I need to talk about our partner and sponsor, Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. For more than 35 years, they have been fighting for the people and have more than 1,000 battle firms. You can check out more. In fact, today, inside the courtroom, again, no cameras allowed, no audio recording allowed. So we have artist Pat Lopez putting these together for us. Now, the issue that jurors are deciding in this case is whether the stabbing was a murder. Today, a member of Austin Metcalf's track team told the court that Carmelo Anthony provoked Austin Metcalf. And today was the first time that we heard from multiple teens who witnessed the brutal stabbing. And today it was an emotional day in court. Court just let out Cody Thomas from Court TV, one of the few members of the media actually witnessing all of this. So truly our eyes and ears inside a courtroom where we can't record, can't use audio, can't use video. So Cody, thanks for being here once again. There's a lot I want to get to, but let's start with the body camera video that was shown in court today. What did you see?
Yeah, Chris. So they came out of the gate with that. There were two different officers that testified. So we had two different angles of the body cam. But the first officer is actually the officer that made the arrest. He was an SRO. He's in his office and he gets the call there's been a stabbing at the stadium. So he's running out there seeing what's going on. Of course, he's seeing the frenzy of students running in every which way. And then he's asking, where's the action at? Where am I going here? And he sees the north side of the stadium. So he gets over there and everyone's telling him, it's that kid, because these kids at Memorial High School did not have any idea who Carmelo Anthony was. But, he's in the gray hoodie, he's in the dark blue or the black sweatpants, and they're pointing him out because one of the kids that testified, and we'll get to them, was following him while on 911. So they obviously saw this kid and he wasn't running outside the stadium. So anyway, the officer ends up approaching him and the body cam comes on during the apprehension. So it wasn't on during, most of it, but when it comes on, we start seeing it there. And the thing about it, Carmelo actually, Chris, was cooperating. He was compliant. He was following orders. He was, respectful. What's your name? He's spelling his name out without the officer even prompting him. And he goes over and he sits him down, and then the officer cuffs him just to detain him. Before they even, take him off campus in the squad car down to the jail, any of that. But one of the most important things about one of these body cams, Chris, is the audio, because you hear they're walking along and the officer's kind of just doing some back and forth with them, and then you hear Carmelo say, "He put his hands on me. I told him not to." And that's the part that the prosecution's harping on, the I told him not to part, because they're pretty much saying that part's a lie. Every account that we've heard so far in the reporting over the last year and some of the students today was.
Okay, so how they calling it a lie if it was caught on body cam? So who's saying it's a lie, and who do we believe? Do we believe the students that's been coached to say what's favorable, that's in Austin's best interest, or do we believe the body cam of Carmelo saying to himself? Let me see if I understood that correctly, what he's saying.
Just to detain him, before they even, take him off campus in the squad car down to the jail, any of that. But one of the most important things about one of these body cams, Chris, is the audio, because you hear they're walking along and the officer's kind of just doing some back and forth with them, and then you hear Carmelo say, "He put his hands on me. I told him not to." And that's the part that the prosecution's harping on, the I told him not to part, because they're pretty much saying that part's a lie. Every account that we've heard so far in the reporting over the last year and some of the students today was just the whole touch me and see what happens. It wasn't don't touch me.
We're going to leave out that. Of course, let me tell you something. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Those students up under that tent been coached. They've been told what to say. They know. And the thing about it is, most of them probably don't even need to be told what to say. They gonna say whatever it is that puts Austin in a good light. They're not gonna say Austin put his hands on him. Austin pushed him. He shouldn't. They're not gonna say none of that. They're gonna say whatever it is to put Austin in a good light. Of course, they're not gonna say that Carmelo said, "Don't put your hands on me." They saying he said, "Make me and see what." That what they saying. But in the heat of the moment, after the shit happened, right after it happened, moments after it happened, after Carmelo ran to this officer, he said what he said. He told the officer what he said. Are you prone to believe what Carmelo said he said right in the moment, or these students who've been coached? I'm just asking a logical question. They say his statement was utter excitement. He pretty much confessed to the crime. They're allowing his confession in because it was utter excitement, but yet they're trying to downplay what he said. Make it make sense.
So didn't they write the report at the event as far as getting firsthand of what happened?
I don't know what they did, man. I don't know. I ain't heard nothing about no report. I don't know.
I mean, it'll be kind of hard, even though most of them are almost adults. It'll be kind of hard to keep everything in line if you was trying to lie from that day of the incident. If they wrote everything down for them to follow once they get on the stand. I'm just saying.
Okay. But was everything written down?
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I was asking the question there.
Hmm. And that's an easy fix. If you want to know what he actually said, well, it's no dispute that he said what he said, man. It's on body cam footage. What the prosecution is saying is that Carmelo is lying about what he said.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The other students, their reports gonna have to add up from that day when they got interrogated about what happened.
I
It'll be
agree.
kind of hard for them to mix their words up to be in favoritism at this point.
I beg to differ, but okay.
It wasn't,
It's possible.
don't keep your hands off me, we're cool. It was touch me and see what happens, making it sound more on the offensive. But when he said that statement, though, Chris, the whole I told him not to put his hands on me and all that, he was sobbing. The emotion was you heard it. You didn't see his face, but you heard it instantaneously. And so then a few minutes goes by, and then he seems a little bit calmer. Like you were just, high energy here, high, sad energy, and then now you're calm and just, yeah, my name's Carmelo Anthony, and I'm a senior or what have you. But anyway, that was the important part of that statement. Now, another statement made that camera didn't pick up, but from the other officer who was there, who had, I don't know, better audio on her camera, they radioed in, we have the alleged suspect. Carmelo then goes, it's not alleged, I did it. So there was an immediate admission, within 6 minutes of this stabbing happening. But the thing about it, Chris, and one of those body cam videos, the second one, you actually saw, they're going up there, scoping the scene and figuring everything out, talking to some of the students. You actually see graphic in nature, the chest compressions being done on what we now know to be Austin Metcalf's lifeless body. You saw a little blood around. You just see him just kind of, splayed out, and you hear a bunch of, the kids yelling out, that was my brother. They stabbed my brother. That's my best friend. And, all this different stuff. And we heard a 911 call made by the students. And we heard a lot of audio visuals today, Chris. Very graphic in nature, real emotional. I'm sitting 2 rows behind the Metcalf family every single day. I could reach out and touch his father. That's how close he is to me. And, for the majority of the day, he's just holding his head in his hands, just taking in all the facts. I mean, he's been dealing with this for a year, but when you see, your son laying there lifeless, you hear 911 calls, you're seeing all the love and support that he was getting, from the friends and the coaches. So he was supported, but, to what avail, because he's not here anymore.
And to just think, because I know yesterday we were talking about the 911 calls and just how emotional that was, but then you have to actually see the chaos that was taking place. As the body cam was playing, what was Carmelo doing in the courtroom?
That's interesting, Chris, because I was, I'm right here in the Metcalf camp, but I try to, keep my head on a swivel, not only to the jury, but over on that.
Stand you Uncle Tom motherfuckers. That's why I can't. And I probably shouldn't say I cannot stand no Uncle Tom motherfuckers. And I get it. Everybody need a job. Everybody got careers. They want to, succeed in their careers, and they feel like they got to lick balls and ass to get there. But I do not like an Uncle Tom motherfucker. I don't, because a lot of these, like him and Heavy Tongue over there, y'all grew up feeling as though y'all were less than these white boys, because that's how people made y'all feel. Then y'all want to get these little jobs, and y'all want to forget. Some of you, like Opie right there, he probably ain't even grow up in a black neighborhood. He sound like he might have grew up in Mayberry. Fuck that nigga. I can't stand Uncle Tom. I cannot stand him. Because you know why I can't stand them? Not because they have the opinion, but I feel as though their opinion is not their opinion. I feel like they say what it is they need to say to keep their little funky ass jobs. I just don't respect them. They make me sick. I don't respect now black man that don't stand up for what the fuck it is he believes. I don't give a fuck what the situation is. I cannot respect a black man that won't stand up for his people. I cannot stand that shit. These Uncle Tom motherfuckers make me sick. And I said what the fuck I said.
Side of the courtroom as well. And it's just very stoic. It's just very, I don't know if the word emotionless is correct, because I'm sure they're feeling a lot of things, but maybe.
What the fuck what the fuck they supposed to do? They know y'all sitting there watching their every move. They know y'all sitting there waiting to analyze what it is they do. What y'all want them to do? You stay your ass over there in the Metcalf camp and you pay attention to what the fuck they doing. They putting on their show, you let them put on their show. They've been putting on the show ever since this motherfucker shit happened. Y'all wasn't running to interview Carmelo family. Y'all was running to the Metcalf. Stay your ass over there. What you worried about? What the fuck they looking like for? His family got all the sympathy, in which, like I said, God rest this beautiful young boy's soul. I am not saying he deserved to die. I'm just saying this shit ain't fair. I can resonate with that woman's pain over there whose son is gone. I pray for her. I do. But in any situation, you got to keep it fair. And you can't be lying and making shit up and spinning narratives and act like y'all don't know what the fuck happened up under that tent. Because if Carmelo was white and Austin was black, the narrative would be so much different. And I mean, and that's what I feel. And then you get these, ooh. Oh. But see, that's how these new people keep their job. But let me tell you something. They say the wrong thing. Let me tell y'all something. I don't give a fuck how long these motherfuckers be on their job. They say the wrong thing that ain't the right thing for who they working for. Their asses will be fired. And they know that shit. They know that shit. These motherfucking newscasters and these broadcasters and these black, they know if they say the wrong motherfucking thing, their ass is out of there. So they gonna say whatever it is to keep them in their job. Weak motherfuckers. No matter how bad it look for our people. And they got, I ain't never seen this many black people on the case with law and crime, nor court TV. I ain't never seen this many black people commentate. Ever. And I've been watching these channels for years. This ain't something I'm making up. Truth, I wish you were bigger than you are on TV syndication because you truly need to be heard. Natasha, if God sees fit, it's going to happen. Just know that. And I can guarantee you, no matter how far I go, I ain't going to switch up. Either you take me as I am or you leave me the fuck alone. Because I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. I'm not finna sit here and play with these motherfuckers. If it's meant for me to stay over here in our little corner with just us, that's what it's going to be. Because if the switch up got to happen, I don't want it. They can keep it. I ain't switching up shit. I ain't did it in 51 years and I ain't finna start now. I ain't no motherfucking bootlicker. And I ain't gonna never be no motherfucking bootlicker.
So, Truth, am I bootlicking by my opinion?
I think you semi-bootlicker. I think you're a semi-bootlicker. I do.
But if I'm looking at the situation before I'm even hearing these guys talk, and I'm saying this stuff before these guys even say it, I'm not being influenced by nobody. I'm looking at this logically. You know what I'm saying? How did that make some when I'm trying to call it down the middle? You know what I'm saying?
Listen, you know I love you to death, and if you take your ass to Washington right now and go shake hands with Trump, I still love you. But this is what I gotta say about you. I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed in the fact that you told me that you paid no attention. You had no interest in that case that we just covered with that 14-year-old man, that young boy being shot in the back by that man, and you showed no interest in it. But this case, for some reason, you all in for. I don't hold it against you. I don't feel a way about you. I just have my opinion.
I just have more. I have more detail on this from us doing it previous than I did on the other case. I treated the other case just like I treat the rapper's case. I don't give a fuck about them niggas once they got money and they ass gone out there and got themselves killed. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying?
I don't place emphasis on that rapper shit. I'm talking about Cyrus Carmack. I'm talking about the fact that you say you weren't caught up on that case, but man, you are the master researcher. You are the master at this shit. You research shit, you get the facts, you go deep, you go down rabbit holes and all kinds of shit. And you didn't deem it necessary to get a background on that case, but yet you got a lot to say about this.
I mean, from what you're saying, the man should have been guilty. The bull was running away and he was shot in the back. I mean, the Chinese guy should be guilty. There's nothing really to
That's your phone. Man got some speakers over there, y'all.
Say that again.
That was your phone.
Yeah, I had two devices going off at the same time.
Oh, it was loud too. I can tell.
That sucker over across the room.
Oh my God! It was like it was right up under the microphone.
Oh no! Now I was sitting next to me, but
Yeah, you got a hell of a mic over there. I'm telling you. Yeah.
yeah, there's some tablet I'm on. I ain't on my real mic.
Oh. But yeah, I'm just saying, man. I'm just keeping it real. You know, I'm gonna keep it real with you. It just bothers me, man. Like it really bothers me. And I know I can get, you know, y'all know how I get, but
It's like we have so many. I'm not really talking about the last one because I don't know about the last case. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of these cases, we have so many examples. And I mean, I'm here about the same decades as you. We have too many examples to keep seeing the same thing. It's like we're not looking at ourselves in the mirror. Michael Jackson said, "Look at the man in the mirror." We're gonna look in the mirror and try to fix the issues that we got.
you keep talking about fixing the issues, but when I ask you what we need to do, you have no answers.
I mean, I have solutions, but they're probably the same solutions that have been pushed for the last couple of decades. Nothing is working, especially with Generation Z. Nothing is working. They out in the streets tearing the club up.
Well, they are tearing the clubs up. That's for damn sure. They shoot. Look, they shooting the clubs up. I get it.
And then if we say something to them, we might get shot. So there go we in the bad. What you go?
But you don't give up, man. You don't give up. You don't give up.
Oh no, you sit back and keep studying, and a solution will come, or somebody might come and give you the idea. You know what I'm saying? Just off a random talk. You never know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Emotionless, not in a negative sense, but it just very, stale-faced. I imagine, Carmelo's sitting there. He's just looking. He's not moving around. He's not looking around the courtroom. He's not rocking his chair. He's just looking right at it because I'm sure he's reliving, his version of what went down that day. And probably, regretting the biggest mistake of
Hold on, y'all. It was buffing.
you as well, Chris, because could you imagine your son, your brother, your nephew, this kid that you've seen grow up, and now he's being accused of these, the maximum crimes you could be accused of, killing someone. So they're over there just a little more stale, not in a negative sense, but just, just real cemented in, hearing what's going on. But of course, there's visceral, audible emotion on the Metcalf side.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like you've seen this video, you wonder if before it being in court, having to relive all there were up on the screen the alleged weapon. We saw this nice stats on reaction, seeing that, and then how it worked into what prosecutors are alleging.
So the big takeaway from the knife, Chris, is that it has a 3.5-inch blade. It looked like a heavy duty knife. It's not what I expected it to look like. I've seen.
What else I noticed, and this goes back to the child case. I ain't gonna never stop talking about that. What else I noticed in the child case, we didn't see a gun. Maybe I missed it. We didn't see Child's gun. We didn't see the alleged gun that Cyrus supposedly had. When you prosecute the case, see these people are prosecuting their case. All right, and
this dude putting out wrong information.
In that child situation, I beg to differ, and I stand on that. Because where were the weapons? Where was Child's weapon, and where was Cyrus' alleged weapon that they say he had, which we never seen? Like, what are we doing here, people? I ain't finna play with this shit.
I mean, they all playing.
But this one just looks like.
This dude just said the guy had a 3.5-inch knife 45 minutes ago. Cause you can't get past my Perry Mason now. You can't get past my Perry Mason. 45 minutes ago, they said it was a 5-inch knife.
Come on, man. Come on.
Y'all think I ain't paying attention? I'm a detailed guy. I'm listening very closely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the 3.5 to 5 inch, that's a big difference.
That's what they do. It's the dramatics of it all for me. It's the exaggeration for me.
But I'll be right back.
Okay, it was 5 inches and it was popped open, ready to cut somebody. This is what they started off with. Come on now.
Just one of the ones that won't break when you try to cut something. You know, the blade is not going to bend on this one. And it just left me wondering, why did you have, if you had any sort of blade, I don't know what it would have been for, maybe to cut some rope or what have you, but this one seems a little bit excessive, but neither here nor there. But then they had, when they brought the knife up there, they had one of the officers come down and they did a little demonstration with it because it's one of those folding pocket knives where the blade folds down into the handle. And before they did the demonstration, the prosecutor asked the officer, "You carry something similar like this at work?" And the officer was like, "Yeah, as a tool for cutting seatbelts, you know, people getting car crashes and things like that. So it's a pretty heavy duty, sharp knife." But then they did the demonstration and they pulled it out, you know, normally like you would two-handed, but it has this thing on it, Chris, called a thumb stopper. And it's like a little thing that sticks off the side of the blade where you can just pick it out with one hand. Not to be confused with a switchblade, nothing like that, but just showing how fast you could, you know, just whip it out if you wanted to. And, you know, that's where the prosecution was alluding, like he already had his hand in the bag. You know, maybe he already realized what he wanted to do and pick a fight. So if and when Austin Metcalf shoved him in the shoulder, he just...
See how they still trying to paint that narrative that this young boy went to that track meet to pick a fight. Y'all see this shit. He ain't picked fights in all his years in school, but yet he picked this day to go pick a fight and to cut somebody, to kill somebody. You got to make this shit make sense, man. Like, for real. I can't stand him.
You know, took it out really quickly. But yeah, the reaction to the knife, it definitely fits. It fits the prosecution's narrative. It definitely looks like one of those knives that could penetrate deeply if, you know, stabbed with enough force. But again, 3.5 inches, Chris, you got to realize, that's another part of it. On one of the body cams, we saw, you know, he threw the knife in the bleachers before he ran off. That's what we were hearing about. And, you know, hit up in the bleachers, metal on metal, made a big clanking sound. One of the students told the officers where it was.
He threw the knives in the bleachers, but y'all say he ditched it. Ditching it means to me hiding it. That's not hiding it. That's not hiding it. He knew it was going to be found in them bleachers. Y'all say he ditched it. I guess you could say that was ditching it, but not for me. Exactly, Natasha. Exactly. You got to make it make sense.
You see one of the officers walk up because he was kind of in charge of scene safety, scene security, you know, making sure the evidence wasn't...
Where the fuck was he when this fight broke out? Where was the safety officers in there when this shit was going down? 4 minutes is a long time to me, honestly, for kids to be gathering and arguing and fighting and shit and fussing and ain't nobody showed up. Where was these people at when this shit happened? These kids were unattended to. They was unsupervised. Where the fuck was the resource officer, the coaches, and all of them? Where were they at?
Compromised. He looks down. He's like, I found it. And then he says on his body cam, "Oh, that still has blood evidence and bone evidence on it." It's one thing, we expected the blood naturally, but bone evidence, you couldn't really see it because it was raining that day. But I mean, you know, in person, he clearly saw it for him to make that statement. So definitely a sizable knife there, Chris, when they showed that on the screen.
You know, Cody, I think one thing that is also important to note is just how quickly all of this went down. You know, it is, you know, it from what's been told by witnesses and some of the EMTs. I mean, Austin Metcalf may not have even realized that he had been stabbed in those moments. And it just kind of speaks to the chaos of everything. And I keep going back to that word chaos because that's truly what it was. And today, for the first time, we heard from some of the students, some of the teammates of Austin Metcalf who were there under this tent. There was like 5 or 6 of them who spoke, and there were some common themes to what they said. These are state witnesses brought by the prosecution. What were some of the things that stood out to you just on their account of what they saw that day?
Well, Chris, one of the main commonalities, the common denominators between them all is what you just pointed out, the speed at which it happened. All of them said that they didn't even realize what had happened because it had happened so fast. I mean, including Austin Metcalf himself. They said when the stabbing happened, they said he looked to Austin and he was just stumbling back and he just, you know, was doing, you know, a motion like this. And then he pulled his shirt up and that's when they saw the gaping wound. But not one of them said they even saw a knife. So that was one thing, Chris. The biggest commonality between them all is that they all said Carmelo was the aggressor. They all said they were sitting under the tent and he walks up.
How the fuck was he the aggressor? How? How are they saying this? How? He did not approach Austin. He did not put his hands on Austin. Austin put his hands on him. But he was the aggressor because he showed up in the tent. Let's just say he showed up in the tent to fight Austin. He did not approach him. He approached somebody he knew and was talking to that person. How is he the aggressor? Because he stepped out of his niggerism and showed up in a white person's tent. Is that what we're saying? He was supposed to be in the field and he took his ass in the house. Is that what we're saying? Oh. They need to just tell the truth. Stop lying. Stop lying. If the truth is the truth and the truth makes him guilty, why are these people lying?
And just sits under there. Didn't say anything really to anybody. One person said that, and then he pulled his shirt up, and that's when they saw the gaping wound. But not one of them said they even saw a knife. So that was one thing, Chris. The biggest commonality between them all is that they all said Carmelo was the aggressor. They all said they were sitting under the tent, and he walks up and just sits under there. Didn't say anything really to anybody. One person said that he shook hands with another teenager there, but even when he did that, he just sat down and wasn't talking to anyone. Didn't ask, hey, can I sit?
How could he be the aggressor if he just sat down and didn't say nothing to nobody? How can he be the aggressor? You got to make it make sense.
Here, hey, what's going on? And of course, they kept diving into the tent culture, at track meets where each tent is pretty much alluded to as a locker room for each team, and you wouldn't hang out in the opposing team's locker room. And they also said their coaches didn't really allow it. If the coaches saw somebody from the opposing team, like Carmelo was from Centennial High School, sitting under the Memorial High School tent.
If the coaches didn't allow it, why didn't Austin go to a coach and get Carmelo removed? If the coaches didn't allow it, why weren't the coaches up there monitoring what went on?
How come Carmelo don't know that rule himself?
If the coaches didn't allow it, why didn't Austin go to a coach and say, we got somebody from Centennial up under our tent and he needs to go? Why didn't he go to a coach?
That just would not have been allowed. So all of them say, who was this kid? One described him as a random kid who just came down from the top of the bleachers, sat down. Questions started circulating, like, who are you? What's your name? What are you doing here? And that's eventually when they say, Austin Metcalf stood up because he was looked at as a leader of the team, looked at as a team captain. He was the captain on the football team as a linebacker.
A bully. He was a motherfucking bully. And it was brought out back when this shit first happened. Him and his brother, they were bullies. Look to him as the leader. Why the fuck would you look at him as the leader and not the coach or somebody in authority? No, he was a bully. God rest his soul.
And a lot of, there's a lot of translation between football and track athletes. So they're all kind of one big family. And they say he stood up and all of them said that Austin started off calmly. Hey, man, what's going on? You shouldn't really be here. Just get off from under the tent. Not in any aggressive way. Everything was calm. And they said Carmelo was just like not responding, just saying no. Or if you want me to move, you're going to have to make me move. Just
how do you not respond, but yet you say, if you me to move, make me move. Make it make sense. You gate mouth motherfucker. Either he responded or he didn't. First you say he wasn't responding, then you say he said make me move.
Adamant about not leaving the tent. And so eventually they said Austin started getting a little frustrated. People, other people under the tent started getting frustrated. Others were chiming in. Some of the people on the witness stand, some of the students testified that they were chiming in also. Like, what are you doing here, man? Like, and none of them said any cussing was going on. They asked specifically, were there any profanity, any cussing? They're like, not that I remember. So maybe it wasn't a nasty altercation, but just
it's not that they remember. But all of them could have been cussing their ass off, but they ain't gonna say that. They ain't gonna say that. They're not gonna say that.
A frustrating one. And so the students did admit that Austin started getting a little heated. Carmelo started getting a little heated, but then they started talking about Carmelo's hand in the bag. And then that all of them said that same thing that we've heard, Chris, the phrase, touch me and find out, touch me and you see what happens. And, they started talking about how here in Frisco, Texas, here in Collin County, this is, suburban, fantasy land. Like this, none of this happens out here. That all of them were saying the same things that they would.
Suburban fantasy land where they think they're entitled, where they think they're the boss, where they think they can tell black people what to do. Just say it, nigga. Just say it. I know about that culture. I know about the white people that feel like you shouldn't sit there, you shouldn't sit there, you shouldn't go there, you shouldn't come in this place, you shouldn't go in that place, you shouldn't be here. I know about that culture. I know about that entitlement. I know about how you can walk in certain places and the white people look at you like, why are you here? What are you doing here? You don't supposed to be here. I know about that culture. Y'all can sit there and like y'all don't know about it, like the shit don't happen.
Not have expected someone to bring a knife to a track meet on school grounds. They have never heard of anything like that. They weren't expecting anything like that. I mean, imagine being 14.
I wonder would this whole narrative be any different about the knife if Austin would have whooped his ass. No, I'm not gonna say it that way. If they had gotten in a fight, I wonder if this whole knife situation would. I wonder if it would be any different if when Austin put his hands on Carmelo, they commenced to fighting, and just so happens Austin may have bumped his head, received a brain injury, and passed away. I wonder would the narrative be any different? See, because they focusing so much on why did he have the knife? If it's the knife, it's the knife. It's not the fact that he was defending himself, it's the fact that he defended himself with a knife. So I wonder if they had got into an actual confrontation and they were fighting and Austin received a head injury that unalived him, what would the narrative be then?
That would be self-defense because he met him back with equal force.
15, 16, and you're not thinking about somebody having a knife in a book bag, to the point where they said Austin looked at him and said, oh, you don't have anything in that bag, like calling his bluff, pretty much. He had his hand in the bag and thought, you don't have anything in there. We live in Frisco. You're not going to do anything. And they say that's when Austin walked up, and, that's where the inconsistency comes in. Was it a hard push? Was it a one-handed push? Whatever it happened, that's what
He pushed him. He pushed him. Even after dude warned him, don't do it. He pushed him.
The stabbing happened so fast. And another thing they all said, Chris, was that it was, it was a little bit of commotion, but they all said they did not even expect a fight to happen. One girl testified and she was at the tent next to it at Liberty High School, maybe 20, 30 feet away.
Let me tell you why they didn't expect a fight to happen. Because Austin and Hunter were bullies. And normally people back down from them. That's why they didn't expect the fight to happen. They expected Carmelo to get up and get out. They didn't expect the fight to happen because Austin and Hunter were bullies, and those people feared them. That's why when Carmelo wouldn't leave, when the other people was telling him to leave, they looked to Austin and Hunter because Austin and Hunter were bullies, and they feared them. Carmelo didn't. Well, Carmelo did fear them, but Carmelo do what a lot of scary people do. Y'all ain't never heard the phrase that a scary motherfucker will shoot you before somebody else will. They know that Austin and Hunter presented intimidation. They presented fear because they were bullies. Like their daddy was being a bully when he showed up at that press conference.
She heard the argument going on, but she thought it was just boys being boys. So she went to go watch the 3,200 race. And by the time she walked down to the fence, Austin was stabbed. And, the prosecutor asked her, if you're a teenager, if you expected a fight, teenagers are going to pull their phones out. We've seen fights before in high school. It's like watching a wrestling match. You're not going to turn away from that. But everyone seemed to turn away. People were on their phones scrolling TikTok, scrolling Instagram, not really concerned with what was happening. They heard it happening, but it wasn't to the point where they thought this would be the result here.
Yeah, and it's just You think too, for all these kids who are testifying today, these teenagers, I mean, they've probably lived and thought about this moment going into this courtroom, facing Carmelo Anthony and saying this ever since this happened more than a year ago. The 10 culture stuff, I noticed that keeps coming up. That seems to be like a constant theme. And the other part too that stood out to me, just looking at some of the notes from today, is how many of them bluntly said in court that they did not believe that this was self-defense. And it just seems like that is something, if you're a juror, I mean, that, from the defense standpoint, that's got to be something that gets, at least I would assume his defense attorney frustrated, where you're having these witnesses, the people who are there looking at jurors and saying, I do not believe that this was self-defense. How did the defense today handle these witnesses that the state put on the stand?
Yeah, Chris, that was one thing that stood out to me when I was sitting in there. I was actively thinking about it as the proceedings were going on, was that under cross-examination, the defense was not really attacking these students aggressively. I don't know if that's a strategy move, given, some of them are minor, some of them have graduated, going off to college here in the fall, but they weren't really going at him as hard as I expected them to. I would imagine you have a couple of teenagers, you're trying to slice and dice their stories, find every inconsistency that you can find. But the thing about it is they were essentially asking the same questions that the prosecution was asking. And the kids are just reiterating what they already said under direct. So it's a very interesting strategy to me, Chris, because, I always looked at cross-examination as you're trying to essentially cross somebody up to go in the favor of your client on the defense's side. So real lack of aggression here. But of course, we're only on day 2. We don't know what they're playing for their case once that comes around, what that's going to be like. Of course, maybe it'll be more intense than we think. But right now, Chris, it just seems a little pulled back. But we'll have to see as the trial continues.
Yeah, it seems like they're just trying to maybe weather the storm, a little bit with these witnesses, because these are witnesses that were under Austin Metcalf's tent. These were Austin Metcalf's friends. And I don't know if the defense has brought that part up. I did notice that they've brought up Carmelo Anthony's size multiple times, that he is smaller than Austin Metcalf. I think Austin Metcalf was like 6'1", 6'2", 215. Carmelo Anthony maybe like 185, right? I mean, I know he played defensive back. I think Austin Metcalf was like a linebacker or a defensive end. So there's like a little size difference. But yeah, I don't know, when I hear them talking about Carmelo Anthony's size, like he was a football player, he was an athlete, size multiple times, that he is small.
The difference in sizes between them two players. Hold on a minute. Linebackers are huge. My twin brother and my brothers were lying. He was a what? Carmelo was a what?
That were under Austin Metcalf's tent. These were Austin Metcalf's friends. And I don't know if the defense has brought that part up. I did notice that they've brought up Carmelo Anthony's size multiple times, that he is smaller than Austin Metcalf. I think Austin Metcalf was like 6'1", 6'2", 215. Carmelo Anthony maybe like 185, right? I mean, I know he played defensive back. I think Austin Metcalf was like
185. Let's go.
Oh, if he 185, yeah, he should have hit that dude. Now I'm 5'5", and a half, and at the time of high school, I was 172. That's not too much off of him, and I would have swung and hit that dude.
Man, you cannot keep sitting up with what that young man should have done. I cannot do this.
That's what he should have done. He went out like a pussy. I'm not gonna pussify this boy. I'm not gonna pussify this boy. That was a pussy move.
Get out of here, man. Get out of here. I am sick of it. I can't do it no more.
I mean, for real.
You talking about you blaming that boy for defending himself the way he did and not fighting. I don't blame him. It was 2 of them. Actually, it was a group of them.
If they known hard-hitting linebackers as you speaking, as far as the size of linebackers, walk away if you know that you ain't built that way.
First you say he should have hit him. Then you say he should have walked away. Either way, you are not going for this boy to finish and I get it. But I'm done.
He know he ain't built that way, and evidently they didn't take him to be built that way, or they wouldn't have talked to him the way they did.
But that's his fault, though.
That's not his. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, if I know I'm not a fighter and I haven't been in fights, it'd be stupid for me to try to fight 2 guys that's apparently bigger than me. He should have been shook and ran.
You just.
I mean, don't go by off of what I say I would do. I was built different. I'm from a different cloth. But this dude is not from that cloth.
You don't want to keep putting yourself up under that tent and saying what you would have done instead of looking at current day and what's going on with this particular case. You don't want to keep having flashbacks, not me.
I'm having flashbacks because some rules don't change. You're not supposed to be under nobody else's tent. like you ain't supposed to be in somebody else's locker room. I'm pretty sure those rules haven't changed. It haven't sounded like it.
And you ain't supposed to be up in somebody's face putting your hands on them.
That is true too.
The fuck?
But it comes with the territory once you cross the line.
So basically, you know what? I'm gonna push
linebacker or defensive end. So there's like a little size difference, but
Yeah.
I don't know. When I hear them talking about Carmelo Anthony's size, like he was a football player, he was an athlete. I know he was looking to play college football. I just don't know how strong of he was giving some weight up to Austin Metcalf when he had a knife, whether that's something that might really resonate with a jury.
Yeah, Chris, and I hear that too. And actually, they say he's smaller than 185. They say he's around 145.8.
Okay.
So what they're trying to
he's a lot
do,
smaller.
yeah, I mean,
How in the fuck you go from 185 to 145? How do you do that? When you're spinning a narrative, when you're lying? How do you go from 185 to 145? Which one was he? And he was 5'8". The dude was over 6 feet. Get it right. Get it right. Which one was it?
I look at him and, you know, he looks like an average sized kid when I walk past him. Clearly, you know, a little thinner, but he's still essentially a grown man. He's still 18 at this point. He doesn't look like a child, but neither here nor there as far as.
Oh my God. Now he ain't a child. He don't look like a child. This was a year ago. He was 17. He was definitely a child. And he don't look like a child. Are you okay? You know what?
That, Chris, I think where they're going, they're trying to show some kind of stark disparity. Okay, we got the two twins over here that are again 6'1", 6'2", 215, burly boys, linebackers, all of this. But they're trying to make them out to seem like these big bullies, I feel. Like they were asking one of the
More bullies. Did you cover this from the gate? Did you cover this from the gate? Did you go back to when this first happened? And they were saying, people at the school were saying they were bullies. Or did y'all just ignore that? Because see, I noticed y'all not talking about the shit that was said and put out here when this shit first happened. Y'all ain't talking about none of that. Y'all ain't talking about none of that. Y'all ain't talking about the witness that came out here and said his daughter said this and that. Y'all ain't talking about that. See.
students on the stand today, well, you know, if you were to walk up on Austin Metcalf, would you feel threatened or intimidated? And he just responded. He was like, I don't know about intimidated. He was like, I probably wouldn't pick a fight with him, but it wasn't like he was, you know, walking up like a giant and being, you know, abrasive about things. But I think that's just what they're trying to throw at the wall here, Chris, to show aggression on Austin Metcalf's side, trying to aid in that self-defense claim that they're having or presenting for Carmelo Anthony.
Because one other thing that I kind of noticed as well, because I remember when this case first happened and the police kind of laid out this fact that like the track meet had been delayed because of rain, and maybe Carmelo Anthony went into the tent because it was raining, but it also doesn't seem like from the testimony that it was some like monsoon that was in the area where everybody was taking cover because it was coming through.
And actually, one of the things they pointed out is that it wasn't even an actual rain delay. There was confusion. There were athletes warming up. They had put rain delay on the billboard or on the scoreboard, but that wasn't true. It wasn't even official.
Yeah, what is he being paid? Like, if it wasn't official, I'd have been to enough games to know when something is put up on the billboard, it's official. It's a rain delay. They had tents out. They were under tents. If it wasn't a delay, what was the confusion that caused the delay? Liar. What was the confusion? If rain delay was put up on the billboard, that's what it was.
Every officer's account, every trainer who was out there, every coach, every athlete, they all admitted, yeah, it was drizzling. The drizzle picked up, you know, a little as the day went on. But as far as the morning goes, it was just a really wet morning. It rained overnight. They say the rain didn't really start until after the stabbing happened, because one of the former coaches who actually testified yesterday.
So now he's trying to spin a narrative that it wasn't raining and he didn't go up under the tent because it was raining. But in all accounts say it was raining. You get what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro.
Said he kneeled down. He was the head track coach, actually. He kneeled down with Hunter Metcalf, the twin brother of Austin, to pray, you know, after this happened. Of course, there's a lot of emotion in this moment, a couple of minutes after your brother's been stabbed. And he said as soon as he kneeled down to pray, that's when rain really started to come. But all before that, by all accounts that we've heard so far on the witness stand, there was not really raining at all. It was just wet and misty, just really a yucky day. So, you know, there are people out there with umbrellas, there are people without umbrellas. So, and the defense keeps asking the witnesses, are you aware that Centennial is the only team that didn't have a tent that day? Alluding to the fact that, you know, maybe somebody doesn't want to stand outside and get drenched, you know, just get drained in rainwater. but that doesn't seem to be the case here.
And as you're kind of watching and taking in what's happening in the courtroom, I mean, these are long days. I mean, I think it's like 9 hours. You know, I think today was like 8 hours. You know, the judges really kind of have his foot on the gas and getting this, getting this done to the point where they're going to be having court on Saturday as well. What has stood out to you about the jury as all of this has been going on?
Their responses to some of this stuff that's obviously being presented. I mean, you're watching a child die on body cam. You're looking at another 17-year-old across the way who's accused of that killing. You're seeing this bloody knife. You know, you're seeing the bloody clothes. You're hearing 911 calls and testaments of all these people who saw a child die in these stands. And so I'm looking at them, and, you know, it's a mixture of grown men and women, obviously. And, you know, shamelessly enough, I expected, the women to cry when they heard some things. But, Chris, I've seen 2 or 3 of the grown men with Kleenex in their hand, listening to some of this testimony, watching some of this video. So and that was yesterday. That was on day 1 of testimony, and a little bit today as well. So the prosecution already, you know, pulling at the heartstrings of this jury.
Why are these people still on the jury? Why are they still there? I've heard of jurors being removed for much less than sitting up boo-hooing in the jury box. Like, why are they still there? Why are those jurors still there?
You know, as you know, the defense still has their time to come present their case, but I just wonder, I fear if some of those jurors have already made up their mind, given the, you know, the extreme nature of what went down, the gravity of this situation here.
Yeah, and you also just have to wonder, is there, you know, what the defense will present when it's their turn to present the case. We know in the opening statements, they talked about Carmelo Anthony as, you know, this good student. He worked multiple jobs, but then it just comes down to that day, in that moment, like his side of the story. How are they going to present it? To your point, the body camera video seems like that would be, you know, a damning piece of evidence that the prosecution presented today. So we'll see. Lastly, Cody, because, you know, tomorrow we're going to be in court again, you know, on Saturday as this is going forward. What do you make of just the pace at which the judge seems to be moving things along? Because I know today there were not a lot of breaks as you went for 8 hours.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's pedal to the metal, foot on the gas for sure, Chris. We got through maybe 8 or 9 witnesses today, six students, 2 officers, just going through them. Of course, we're going in court tomorrow. Today, we only had 1 45-minute lunch break, not even an hour, and then a 10-minute break after that. And that was it. You know, the lunch break was at 11:30 this morning Central Time. And the afternoon break came maybe an hour after that. So we sat in there for a good chunk of the day leading up to the end here. So it seems like, again, you know, we're expecting this trial to be over the end of next week, maybe a verdict by next Thursday, Friday, or if they do a Saturday session. You know, if they get a case on a Friday, I'd imagine the jury might not want to come in on a Saturday, naturally speaking. But it's expected to be 2 weeks long, and it seems like they are staying on pace, if not ahead of schedule.
And we'll see what happens next. We'll be in court tomorrow, continuing to follow the case of Carmelo Anthony. Cody Thomas from Court TV, great work as always. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Always happy to be here.
Court will be in session on Saturday as well, and we're going to keep a close eye on things. We will bring you an update on what happened as this high-profile trial continues. That will do it for this episode of On the Case, presented by Law and Crime. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify, and we're also now streaming on Peacock.
All right, let me see. We had 3.5 hours. Hold on. They got another one. I wonder how different is this one from what we just watched. Let's see. And it's going to be it for today. Oh, maybe that's the same one.
A deadly confrontation. One teenager dead, another fighting for his future. Today, prosecutors and defense attorneys delivered starkly different versions of what happened under a crowded track meet tent during a rain delay. A confrontation that ended with Austin Metcalf stabbed to death and Carmelo Anthony facing a possible life sentence. Why did this teenager bring a knife to a track meet? What really happened under that tent during a rain delay? We learned a shocking new piece of information about the knife allegedly used to kill Austin Metcalf. We are inside the courtroom as the mystery at the heart of this case begins to unfold. We're On the Case, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. Before we get into this episode of On the Case, I got to talk about our partner and sponsor, Kalshi. If you have ever wondered if you could make money off real-life events with Kalshi, the largest prediction market in the U.S., you can. And with my code OTC, you can get $10 when you trade $10. So here's how it works. Kalshi's peer-to-peer trading. You buy a yes or no contract on whether something will happen, and you're trading directly against other users. So think of it like buying or selling a stock. The line is 50 shifts, including $10. KAL out is premeditated. Thomas is in the window. Not only did they argue as the judge, we're going to be able to Cody Thomas statements, and there was a line of people here in Collin County. It's outside Dallas. We think there was roughly 200 people outside the courthouse trying to get in to see this trial take place, and there's just 27 spots in the courtroom. Now, before we get to what prosecutors and defense attorneys argued in their opening statements, we need to talk about this jury. Look, there is no question that race is one of the elements that has made this story the center of a lot of attention, on top of the fact that you have a young man who lost his life at a track meet. And the racial makeup of this jury is definitely something getting attention here. Now, this jury, it's 12 people. We're told it is made up of 3 Asian women, 1 Middle Eastern woman, and a woman of color. But reportedly, no African Americans are on this jury. And the rest of the jury is made up of white men. Now, according to local reports, 3 African American women were stricken from the jury, claiming they had bias in the case, claiming they didn't want to convict Carmelo Anthony. Now, the court went through more than 600 potential jurors in the selection process. And one question we are told hung up a lot of people was whether they could convict a teenager and put him away for life. Now, Carmelo Anthony is that teenager, and he is charged with first-degree murder in the death of another teen named Austin Metcalf. And we have not seen Anthony on the outside of the courthouse as we did when he posted bond last year. The road surrounding the courthouse has been blocked off, and it does appear that Carmelo is being brought into court away from cameras.
Hold on.
Rules when it comes to this trial by the judge. We can't film inside the courthouse. We can't film the trial. We can't live stream it.
What, man?
All right. So are they saying he's guilty before innocent? Because in order for you to ask the jury, can you do whatever to a juvenile? That means you already came up with your own verdict. And is that basically what he's saying? Or do they ask all jurors that?
I don't know.
I try not to let a lot of stuff lead my thoughts. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I hear what y'all saying and stuff. It's there.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you tell by the narration what you think this is leading to? Can you just go by what's being said about this case and assume that they assuming or they pretty sure that this boy's gonna be found guilty?
Yeah, I can hear it. And, I mean, the way it looks, I mean, it's hard not to see it that way until he started talking. There's so many things that's not what's though.
You feel that way, so why shouldn't they?
I mean, exactly, but I'm not. I don't have all the information they got. I'm just looking at it from outside, just gathering stuff. You know what I'm saying? But to me, I mean, I would still give him a fair trial to give him a witch call, but you putting it out here on TV as far as like, yeah, well, can you convict this guy? Like, come on, all we just need you to do is just say, yeah, guilty. That's the way they coming off to the public. Me is my own. That's my own independent thought of what I'm seeing and what I've heard over the last year. I would say he was guilty, but I haven't heard truly his complete side of the story.
Okay.
With taking race out of it, the man is guilty.
Okay.
So we just have the words of the people who are witnessing it for themselves, like Cody. Now, prosecutors dropped some new information today, and it's information we didn't know until the opening statements began. And before we get to that, I want to lay out for you the timeline. And I'm going to lay out this timeline using the perspectives of the prosecution and the defense. So all of this took place last year on April 2nd, and it was at a track meet for local high schools in Frisco, Texas. And you have Austin Metcalf's high school and Carmelo Anthony's high school. Those were 2 of the schools competing in this track meet. Everything changes when a rainstorm moves into the area, and it delayed this track meet. So everybody's going to maybe back to their bus, maybe they're going to a tent underneath, and Carmelo's.
So now we're going back to it was a rainstorm. Do y'all see this shit? Old boy just sat up there and said it wasn't even drizzling, it was just misty. The rain didn't start till Austin was stabbed. Now this dude is talking about a whole rainstorm. Do y'all see this shit? I don't even know if I can get through this, y'all. I ain't gonna even tell y'all no word lie. Because I get too angry. I get too much everything. Like I don't like, some people good and okay with, being played, getting played with in their face. Some people good with sitting up just listening to these motherfuckers speak and just taking it at face value. I'm not good with it. I'm just not.
Was this just a rainstorm or was it a thunderstorm? Because from what I remember, as far as those days of being at the track meet, if it's a thunderstorm, they don't want the kids under the tent in lightning. They would send them. Everybody would go to the gymnasium, which you know what I'm saying. Everybody just stand in their certain circles unless you knew other people where you can mingle around. So if it was raining and that was the forecast, was it just drizzle or was it lightning and thunder? And
Mad. On the day before, it wasn't even raining. It was misty. The next day, it was. This is according to the people that's talking. The day it happened, it had not even started raining yet. It was misty. They was under the tent for fun. People had umbrellas just for fun. It wasn't even raining yet. But the next day when they come on, this same person is saying it was a whole rainstorm. You choose which one you want to go with.
I don't know what they mean by rainstorm. A rainstorm could be just rain, heavy rain, or it can mean lightning and boom. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to scramble the people's brains, and people who pay attention to detail, it ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it ain't work. It ain't working with me, but you know.
High school did not have a tent, but Austin Metcalf's high school did. And Carmelo ducks under the tent of Austin Metcalf's high school. Now, this is where the versions of events are very different between the prosecution and the defense. So you have the prosecution who says that Metcalf's team told Carmelo Anthony to leave from being under the tent and Carmelo wouldn't move. And the defense says that the reason that Carmelo went to the tent is because he had recognized a close family friend of his girlfriend. Now, the defense says that once Austin Metcalf and his twin brother noticed Carmelo, they told him to leave. And Carmelo was just confused as to why it was a big deal that he was under the tent. Now, the prosecution says that when Carmelo was asked to leave the tent, he said something along the lines of, "Make me." When Austin Metcalf stepped up to Carmelo to tell him to leave, they end up having some words, and that's when Carmelo Anthony allegedly stabs Austin Metcalf in the chest. And a big piece of information that is new information to us related to the alleged murder weapon, prosecutors say it was a folding knife, and that knife was already opened. And they allege that the knife was ready, and they say that Carmelo Anthony was looking for a reason to use it. They characterize what happened as Carmelo baiting Austin Metcalf into a confrontation. Now, the defense side of it, again, very different from what the prosecution is saying. They are arguing that Carmelo had to act in self-defense. They say that Austin Metcalf was the aggressor. They say that Austin made the first physical contact with Carmelo, and Carmelo had to react in a moment of chaos, and he used that knife to protect himself. So after the stabbing, Carmelo ran. The prosecution argues that the fact that he drops the knife and he takes off, it proves guilt. They also say that he tried to allegedly blend in with the crowd when people went looking for him. The defense, they say that Carmelo ran because he was defending himself, that he was trying to get out of the situation. And they say that he went to one of his coaches until police arrived. Now, once police arrived, Carmelo is quoted as saying, quote, "I'm not alleged, I did it." And prosecutors say that proves that Carmelo knew what he did. They also say that Carmelo said, quote, "I told him not to," when speaking about Austin Metcalf. And they say that also shows that Carmelo wasn't afraid for his life, that Carmelo, they argue, murdered Austin Metcalf. Now, the defense, they look at the sequence of events a little different. They say that the fact that Carmelo said, "I'm not alleged, I did it," that doesn't prove anything. They say, if anything, it shows that he wasn't hiding the fact that he was involved in this altercation and that he had to do it because it was self-defense. Now, of course, a big question that was raised by prosecutors right out of the gate this morning is, I think, a question that hangs over this trial. And it's, why does a 17-year-old kid competing at a high school track meet, middle of the week, why does he need to bring a knife with him? Now, we'll talk about how the defense may address that in a moment. The defense, at the start of their opening statements today, they took the approach of trying to paint Carmelo Anthony not as a killer, but telling the jury that he's a good kid. This is a guy who was voted captain of his football team. He's someone who has never been in trouble with the law. He works multiple jobs. He enjoys playing chess. He enjoys going camping. They say that he is not the monster that prosecutors are alleging that he is. Now, witness testimony is going to be a driving force behind this trial, but also today, prosecutors showed surveillance video of the incident. Cody Thomas of Court TV was in the courtroom today for all of the testimony. Cody, I know that there's a 911 call that was played that we'll talk about, some very emotional testimony there at the end of the day, but I want to begin right after opening statements. Surveillance video of this incident was shown. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, Chris, it was 5 different angles. Surveillance video looked like the cameras were on like the light post inside the high school football stadium because they were very wide shots. So the first witness was a forensic video analyst who obviously went through and tried to enhance the videos. We watched the original videos first, and quite frankly, you really couldn't see much of anything. And then after a few minutes, we zoomed in. He showed all the enhancements, and he had spot shadowing and highlighting who we're supposed to be looking at. You can't really make out any distinct features, and the prosecution admitted that before they even played the video. They have to look at clothing and identify the person of interest, who, of course, is Carmelo Anthony, and the victim, who is Austin Metcalf. So they outlined all of that based on the photos that came out later once Carmelo was taken into custody. But again, the videos, it establishes what happened. You can definitely make out what happened, but it wasn't, to me personally, as compelling as I thought it would be, because it looks like gas station video. It's really grainy. It's zoomed in. When it's zoomed out, it looks high quality, but when it zooms in, as you know, with any picture, it loses some of the quality. But you can see the tent where everything goes down. You see Carmelo Anthony walk under the tent 2 minutes before Austin Metcalf and his friends get to the tent. And then everything starts going down within 4.5 minutes. You see, just kind of some humanoid blobs.
Somebody right. Did y'all hear them say earlier that Austin and them? Wait a minute. Before I even say anything, how many of y'all heard them say that Austin and his friends were there first? I'll wait. And maybe I just heard that, but I heard wrong. But we're going to see. How many of y'all heard?
What you mean by that?
How many of y'all heard them say that the witnesses said that Austin and his friends were under the tent first? Who heard that? Or am I tripping?
Why wouldn't they be there first if it was their tent?
I'm not mad. Let me do this. You can't. Okay. I'm not going to let you. They said that this fast talking dude right here said that the witnesses said, the teenage witnesses that were there, said that Austin and his folks were there first, and then Carmelo showed up. Now let's listen to what he just said.
But again, the videos, it establishes what happened. You can definitely make out what happened, but it wasn't, to me personally, as compelling as I thought it would be, because it looks like gas station video. It's really grainy. It's zoomed in. When it's zoomed out, it looks high quality, but when it zooms in, as you know, with any picture, it loses some quality. But you can see the tent where everything goes down. You see Carmelo Anthony walk under the tent 2 minutes before Austin Metcalf and his friends get to the tent.
2 minutes before Austin and his friends get to the. Which one is it? Mara, am I okay? Am I losing it? Did I not hear these same people say? And I'll go back. That man said that the witnesses testified that Austin and his friends was there first and Carmelo showed up. Now he's saying that Carmelo showed up 2 minutes before Austin and his friends. Why would... See what I'm saying? And man, you right. I just didn't want you to throw me off. Why would Austin and his friend, why would Carmelo get there before Austin and his friends? But that wasn't the point of my pointing that out. The point of me pointing that out is which one is a lie and which one is the truth.
Unless they was all...
Why are we reporting fake news? Because one of them got to be a lie.
I mean, unless all of them was running towards the tent at the same time because of the rain, I mean, that don't make sense.
Here we go. I can't.
No, I'm just going off of what you were saying. I was trying to make, unless they was running.
It's straightforward. I'm not trying to assume anything. I'm not doing that. I'm going by what these people are reporting. Just like with the rain, just like the 2 different days, they're reporting 2 different things. 2 different days, they're reporting 2 different things. It's just like with the rain. On one day, they say, when it happened. It was misty. It wasn't raining yet. It said rain delay, but it wasn't raining. Then they come back the next day and say it was a rainstorm. On one day they say Austin and his friends was there first and Carmelo showed up. And then the next day the same person or the same two men is saying that Carmelo was there first and then Austin and them showed up. My point is, why are they lying? Why are they manipulating? Why are they reporting fake news? Why are they lying? Because one of those statements in each case have to be a lie. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
And then everything starts going down within 4.5 minutes. You see, just kind of some humanoid blobs under the yellow Memorial High School tent. And then you see one figure kind of really fast jolts to and from, which they were saying, the prosecution was saying that was the initial push. They're not denying that Austin Metcalf, made physical contact. They admitted that there was a physical altercation, but that was the moment you saw the push. And then, of course, you see the 25, 30 kids start scattering throughout the bleachers. And then you see the person of interest, again, Carmelo Anthony, running down the bleachers, running a ways away from where the tent was, out onto the track and into the arms of another coach, Chris. But again, the video, of course, establishing, giving us, painting a picture of what it looked like that morning. This all happened around 10:02 in the morning, right when the track meet was supposed to start. Just really giving us a scene setter, just to allow us to understand what was really going down that day.
And we don't have cameras in the courtroom, as we've said. I mean, and I know things got emotional near the end of the day. And we'll talk about some of these witnesses here in the moment, some of these coaches that witnessed what happened. They witnessed the aftermath. But what's the layout of the courtroom? Like, what was Carmelo Anthony's, what did he seem like as all of this was going on today?
So I'm positioned right behind the Metcalf family. So it's a very, very small courtroom. It only seats about 60, 65 people.
This the sign. It sounds like the same shit, but not, because he switched up his story. Let me keep listening. Like, this is crazy.
Each side, each family gets 15 people each. So that's 30. You have 9 of us media people. That's 39. And then plus court staff. So it's about 45 seats already taken up before members of the public can get inside, which they only allowed for 25. I think the exact number this morning was 27 members of the public who were allowed to come in. But of course, you have the Metcalf family on one side, the Carmelo Anthony camp on another side. And I'm watching Carmelo during all of these videos, all of the emotional testimony from the different coaches and witnesses, because, I mean, at the end of the day, he stabbed a kid to death. Whether, it's proven to be self-defense, whether it's proven to be murder, whether it's manslaughter, you still took a human life. And I'm looking at him and he was kind of stoic. He wasn't really emotional. He was watching the videos. He didn't turn away from the videos. But I'm looking at Austin Metcalf's family, and his father, is fully engaged in everything. But every so often, every 10 to 15 minutes, his father would just kind of put his head in his hands like this, and I'd see him nod his head no, just, of course, overwhelming emotion there. But I'm looking back and forth trying to gauge the dynamics between both of them, between the alleged aggressor and the victim here. And there was stoicism on this side and clear emotion on the Metcalf side, as expected.
Yeah, I mean, you just think of the weight of everything we're talking about, and even the possibility for Carmelo Anthony that he could be sent to prison for the rest of his life. That's, and it's something where we cover these trials, and you just think of the weight of everything that's going on, and of course for these families and what's going through their minds as all of this is going on. The testimony of some of the coaches who were there, who were witnesses, it seems like this is where things got really emotional today. What, as you kind of reflect back, and I know you just stepped out of court and you're probably still processing everything you heard over several hours, but I mean, when you think of the moment today of where things got emotional, what would be that moment for you?
The moment for me, Chris, was we had several coaches and athletic trainers. They were all at the meet that day, all from different schools. Some of them, knew of each other just because coaches in the same district. All of them had different unique perspectives as to what happened, how they participated in aiding Austin, where they were when they heard the commotion go down. But for me, Chris, it was this last witness before I came out of the courtroom now, a coach named Joshua Redmond, who was a defensive coordinator, a track coach, football and track that kind of coincide in high school sports. He was there at the track meet with Liberty High School, whose tent was only about 20 feet from Memorial High School, where the whole stabbing went down. And it was established at the beginning of his testimony that he was a 14-year combat Iraq vet, that he did 3 tours in Iraq, and he's seen death. He's a 100% disabled veteran. He told the court that he's been blown up 3 times, twice in a Humvee, once in a house. So he's seen, carnage before. Yeah. So he talks about he was standing there talking to another coach, and he wasn't hearing anything. And all of a sudden, it was just kids scattering, just a bunch of yelling and screaming. He goes over there. He realizes what's happened. He has no relationship with the Metcalf family at all. He only knows the Metcalf twins through the schools playing football. He says he gets over there. He sees Austin kind of sunken back into the fence on the bleachers, and he's looking at him. And he said, someone's told him I've been stabbed, and he's holding his abdomen. Coach says he looks down. He sees the blood coming through his hands, and he immediately takes his jacket off and starts, applying pressure to the wound. And he says he sees, the color draining from Austin's face, and eventually starts seeing his eyes roll back. So while that all sounds emotional, Chris, this is the part that got me. because he's seen death before, this coach who was a more than a decade combat vet, the kid, Austin, he stops breathing at some point in time. They lose a pulse. So he's back there doing the CPR, doing the chest compressions. Another coach is doing the mouth to mouth. And so he's clearly not breathing. And one coach is on 911, on the phone with 911. And then he starts talking about the type of breathing that many of us refer to as your last breaths. And he's looking up at the coach that's on the phone with 911. He's looking down at the kid, passing away here. And on the phone with 911, it's like, oh, he's breathing again. But the coach Redmond, who was on the stand, says he knew that was it because he's heard the last breaths before. He knew those weren't the normal breaths of someone who's kind of struggling or straining to breathe. He knew those were the last moments, and he said he didn't say anything because he didn't want to kill, the morale and the hope. Everyone's hoping. You can hear on the 911 call him saying, stay with me, Austin, stay with me. Come on, you're here, everything's fine. But he said even when he was doing those compressions, he heard those last breaths. He just knew it was over. And when you hear that coupled with the 911 call, Chris, that was the most emotional moment for me right before walking out of this courtroom just a few moments ago.
Yeah, I mean, I just like reading the notes of the day of like what happened. Like I got chills just reading it, and you just think of the chaos of the moment and the fact that this was a high school track meet, and suddenly you have a combat war veteran trying to save the life of a young man who had just been stabbed. What did the jury look like, in all of this? Because I just think of the idea of this 911 call playing and just the description of Austin, stay with me, and to hear that chaos. Like when things got emotional, what did the jury look like?
So, of course, you had throughout the day, some of this testimony is going on. The jury's mixed, kind of evenly split between men and women. And, of course, you have the people who are just kind of shaking their heads, closing their eyes, maybe looking away. But when I saw real emotions where, tissue had to be handed out to some of the men on the jury, no less as well, Chris, was during that 911 call. It went on for maybe 10 or 12 minutes. You heard the other coach, Coach Thayer, who wasn't a witness, but his name was established. He's on the phone. Hey, we got a kid that just been stabbed. They're saying it was another student from another school. They don't know him. But it wasn't really what was being said by the coach who was on the phone with the operators, what you could hear in the background, all the shouting, again, all the come on, Austin, stay with me. And there was a point in time, Chris, where you can literally hear the rhythmic chest compression. You can just, the voice of whoever was talking, you can just hear it against the bleachers. And I looked over at the jury and you see it was 2 or 3 men wiping their eyes. Of course, a couple of the women had their face in their hands, tears were falling, not visceral crying where it's audible, but you could see the emotion was definitely running throughout that jury as they were watching.
Yeah, and I just think of the defense, part of this as well, because there is no question about the fact that Carmelo Anthony stabbed Austin Metcalf. The question is, was this murder? For a lot of these cross-examinations today, where you would have the emotional testimony of what people witnessed, like how would you characterize how the defense is going about kind of trying to weather the storm of so much emotion coming from what Carmelo Anthony allegedly did to Austin Metcalf?
As I thought they would during this emotional testimony, which can be looked at in a positive or negative way, depending on how you look at it, on which side of the fence you're on. But one of the questions that the defense attorney asked every single witness, we're talking about the tents. And a lot of these coaches, being coaches in competitive sports and being in the culture of track and field, they were talking about track and field culture, how each tent is kind of like your locker room. For example, if you're in the NBA or the NFL, you have 2 locker rooms and, players don't go back and forth between each other's locker rooms. And they were trying to explain that the tents were kind of the same thing. And you might walk by and see a friend that you say, hey, what's up? But you're not hanging out under the tents.
And there's only a few minutes left, and I don't want to hear it no more. I think we already heard it. Let me see. Yeah, we about at 4 hours. I'm finna end it. Let me see what. I'm sick of him. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't even want to listen to WFAA because I know they're gonna piss me off. So we're gonna. Now they said something about court being held today, which I thought court was gonna be held today too as well, but I'm not seeing where court was held. So with that being said, if I come back tomorrow morning, what will I have to talk about tomorrow morning? I do have something else we could talk about, but most likely, I'm gonna take off tomorrow morning from this channel. I think we all need a little break. What y'all think?
No day off. No day off.
No, I don't mean taking the whole day off. I mean just taking the day off from this channel. Only way I will come back if they have Saturday court, but it don't look like they had Saturday court. So, I think tomorrow. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah, I don't think now Carlos King got it, and I think I'm suspecting that Carlos King video is like, y'all know I do Carlos. His video that he dropped is 2 hours long. I'm very curious as to what Carlos put together. So if I come back tomorrow, y'all, the only thing we're gonna do is we gonna watch Carlos's because he probably got a whole bunch of stuff. Like, I like the way he put his videos together where he does a timeline of sorts, and he put in footage and all the footage be in together, and you get a clearer understanding as to what's going on. So if I come back tomorrow morning, it's gonna be we just gonna listen to we're gonna watch Carlos's video. It's about 2 hours long, but it shouldn't take us long to go through it because probably most of the stuff we done seen. I just want to see how he puts it together and how it brings this all together. Because he probably got some clips we ain't seen and stuff like that. So yeah, if we come back tomorrow on this channel, we'll do that. And then hey Kimash. And then Monday court resumes. So I don't know if I'm gonna come. Yeah, you know what? I will come tomorrow morning because I probably won't come Monday morning. And if I do come Monday morning, we'll be talking about something else. Because Monday court resumes, but you know, I always like to stay a day behind because they're gonna be giving live updates throughout the day. So I just might as well wait for the day to end. You know what I'm saying? In order to get all the clips together.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to catch up on a couple of these things too. The main reason why I'm probably not seeing nothing because I've been stuck on the Game Ain't Fair channel. I haven't went over to Real Mad, which is on a different algorithm, which has probably all this stuff and more. You know what I'm saying? I just being lazy.
I'm just saying, I'm gonna say it's all up and down YouTube. You got motherfuckers hanging this young man before the trial even started, and now that it has started, they definitely hanging him. They really They really want him to literally hang. They want him to be hung. Just saying.
No, my algorithms are totally separate by my channels. I got the fun stuff on this channel, but then on that channel, you know what I'm saying, I got the more history, politics, religious, you know what I'm saying, on that channel over there. I just haven't clicked on that channel in a while.
Quincy, I appreciate you bringing this content truth, especially on the weekend because my weekends are iffy. I miss. Oh, okay. You're welcome, Queen. Yeah, we're gonna come tomorrow morning. We're gonna be here for maybe a couple of hours, not this long as we were today, but we're gonna watch Carlos's video, and then I decide whether or not I come Monday and start because, like I say, court gonna be going on Monday. They're gonna be giving live updates, but it's gonna be all over the place, and I probably would prefer to just wait till Tuesday to bring that, but we'll see. We'll see. But with that being said, y'all, I'm gonna get off of here. I supposed to be live in an hour on the other channel. We'll see how that go. But I gotta eat me something. I ain't ate and I ain't even eat breakfast. So yeah, thank you, man. Thank you, man, for hitting the link again. Thank you, man.
No problem. I ain't going nowhere today, so I'm chilling out.
Okay, good. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all supporting this channel as usual. I'm hoping and praying that y'all having a blessed, beautiful day. And I pray that you continue to do so. I'll see y'all in an hour or so on the other side. But until then, y'all be safe, be blessed, never stress. And until next time, Truth Seekers stand up. And we out. I see y'all. Wait a minute. Is my screen frozen? Oh. All right, y'all. We out. Y'all be good. Thank you again for supporting.